Happy St. Paddy's Day, Overwatch fans, and welcome back to Day 3 of Overwatch Contenders Trials. We start out our day once again in the EMEA division, where we'll be seeing the Boomers versus the Zoomers, with that matchup being Old and Bored versus Young and Beautiful. This will then be followed up by the currently undefeated New Kings versus Open Division runners-up 01 Esports. Now, these matches are due to be filled with incredible Overwatch play, so I hope you are all firmly locked in your seats and ready for some intense Contenders Trials action. My name's Captain Jack, and I'll be your play-by-play for the evening, joined by the wise and controlled Thibbledork to balance out my craziness on Analyst, and Reflash Director Reef, joined by Cynthia and Ben on production. Now, Thibbledork, glad to be able to spend some time with another name I've been hearing whispered around the Tier 2 scene. Absolute pleasure to be able to work with you for once, and I cannot wait to see what the teams have planned for us today.
And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing that I'm being whispered about, but I'll take it as a general
all good
positive.
things, all good things.
Yeah, let's hope it's all good things people are whispering about me, and if not, well, that's just how it goes. But besides my own personal insecurities about what people say about me on the internet, let's talk about these games, because like you said, these are both set to be total bangers, probably for some slightly different reasons overall, I would say. The Boomers versus Zoomers matchup, as you have so eloquently coined it, is definitely going to be that, like, upper echelon, like probably decently controlled, like coordinated play style that we're kind of used to seeing, that traditional Overwatch where the teams understand what they want to be playing and how they want to be positioning themselves, and it's really just some mind games back and forth. We saw Young and Beautiful's match last week that Big Hungry Phil and I casted. It went down to map 5. It was extremely close all the way through, with mirror metas and just like small mind game outplays based on cooldown usage and ultimate efficiency, and that just made for some great Overwatch in and of itself. Very GOATS era-esque. On the other side, we had 01 Esports, who just showed you what can happen when you have a team that's just really good at certain heroes and doesn't care about literally anything else. They don't scrim, they don't have a coach, they don't worry about any of that strategy stuff. They don't care about that. They have Goku on the Pharah, and that's really all you need. He cleans up so nicely. They refuse to ever let a team fight end. They always try and win, sometimes to their detriment, but they are also going up against an extraordinarily strong challenger. New Kings, as mentioned, are undefeated, full of amazing talent, basically an Overwatch League level roster in and of itself, in my opinion. So for them to be in trials and fighting against an Open Division runner-up team that's just focused on pure chaos will either be maybe a bit one-sided or just a total slugfest.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these two sets of teams end up battling it out, for sure. I mean, Old and Bored and Young and Beautiful definitely going to be a very close matchup based on what we've been seeing. You know, both of these teams incredibly stacked with players. You know, on Young and Beautiful, you have a lot of Contenders level players, you know, looking to take that next step up to the next level, and Old and Bored are retired Overwatch League players that are looking to just have some fun at this high level of play. So, as is for the remainder of our day, the first match will always be Oasis, as chosen by the admins here at that monkey bubble reflash. So we will get a map to see where the teams stack up and see what kind of strategies they're going to be coming out with, and try to give them a proper foot to start on without giving any particular team an edge. So it'll be interesting to see, and as soon as the teams are ready to go, we'll go ahead and head on right into the action.
Right, and Oasis is such a great stepping off point, I think, for both of these teams. Especially, I want to highlight the DPS lineup coming in as we look to get started on Oasis. Obviously, there are some compositional variations you can see depending on the stage of the map that we're going to, University, City Center, or Gardens. But Olden Board, I want to point out, used a lot of Tracer Sombra in their matches last week, whereas Young and Beautiful were very, very focused on this one composition, this May McCree sort of focus composition, lots of CC, those back and forths with the walls, kind of making the corridors and trying to focus down your Reinhardts and your Mays and your Divas. So both of them looking for very different play styles, potentially adapting to one another. They're certainly flexible enough, no one tricks to be found here, but you really need to focus on that DPS lineup, especially if they both maintain the strategies that we've seen from them so far, because this will be the chance for both of them and all of us to see which of those strategies reigns supreme. So obviously not a ton we can talk about on hero selection just yet, really until the doors open, because they can change at any moment. We're contractually obligated not to talk about it. But I'm very curious to see what they roll out with, how those two compositions counter each other or mirror each other, and what that will look like as we get ready to get started on City Center.
Yes, this map in particular lends a lot to that high ground advantage, both on the outsides and on that central pillar, especially for heroes like Wrecking Ball or Diva. Just being able to kind of dive down and continually touch the map over and over again can keep that percentage ticking up, while also keeping them safe and out of range without being completely dove upon by the other team. So looking at these compositions, it seems like we're going to have quite a brawly matchup here in the City Center.
Right, we're going for the mirror of the composition we saw Young and Beautiful run last week, thus saying Olden Board were really just adapting to O1 Esports last week, and we're getting right into it already.
All right, we see the Divas battling out on the high ground. Naru and Pure Irish looking to see who can get that DMAC first, as the Maywalls coming out for either side, trying to see if they can lock down these corridors. But we already see Young and Beautiful looking to take control of the objective, as Olden Board take control of the high ground, but without really a lot of need to take control of that high ground. It's almost like they've wasted time. The Maywall does go up, and Pure Irish finding that first pick onto Ben Best. We see a Cappy right here getting click after click right now, trying to stun and use that Peacekeeper to take every member of Young and Beautiful off this objective. They're already 50% to trying to grab it, but they will be dismantled by this experienced team as Olden Board take control of the objective.
And just great rotations there from Olden Board. Getting the high ground, not that it's super important, but just having it to start is always nice. Forcing Young and Beautiful on the back foot and applying such great shield pressure onto Ben Best as well. Consistently forcing him back, keeping him from getting his aggression on, which he loves to do. And look at him, he's 25% behind in ultimate as this High Noon comes out.
Ooh, High Noon coming out, looking for some damage. Does get a little bit in, but not enough for the team to be able to follow up on effectively. Now we're going to see the garage door opened up for either side, as we see now the Blizzards getting ready to come online and see if they will be invested as well. Already up to the 35% mark as Young and Beautiful make their way around the objective. Maywall comes up as the stun comes in. Absolutely huge from Teemo, gets traded out with the Blizzard, and the cleanup just comes in once again for Olden Board. Cafe is just absolutely rocking it right now on that Kree as they pass the 50% mark.
And Caffey's really probably one of the oldest talents left in Contenders. Played on the 2017 Israeli World Cup team with names like EQO and Awkward, who used to play for Triumph as a flex DPS, or as a flex support, excuse me, has consistently proven himself one of the highest level Tracer McCree players, I think, in this region. Always been an excellent standout and a real asset to this team.
All right, Old and Bored Young and Beautiful making their way back onto the objective as Timo holding the high ground in the city, in the center of the city. The Deadeye now being popped out from Cappy, looking to find some value, but the Mei wall comes up, preventing any of that damage from coming out. Diva Bomb invested for the quick remake as Naru trying to find themselves a way to get back in the fight, but Pure Irish looking to use it to take some lives. Gets the double kill as Starboy able to get that follow-up onto Nico as overtime ticks away. It looks like Old and Bored or maybe looking to take a nap as they take the city center.
Right. I mean, clean as you could like. And behind you are coming out from Autumn Souls, my favorite voice line of all. I was actually, towards the beginning of the match, I was thinking about what matchups to really highlight. And I wanted to kind of point at Nico versus Sir Gibson here on the Mei. Initially, I figured, Mei is one of his most iconic heroes. When you're not looking at his Genji or unfortunately his Diva, Mei is definitely kind of his bread and butter hero that we've always talked about Nico playing very well. But Sir Gibson throughout, I think, was consistently getting slightly better value off of his walls, better value out of his blizzards, and not necessarily dealing more damage, not that we can tell because we don't have live stats or anything, but just generally being better positioned to help his team follow up and get the kills they need. That Pure Irish double kill with the Diva Bomb was set up off of some manual freezes from Sir Gibson. So keep an eye on that matchup, but not for the reasons I was expecting.
All right, we see an interesting turn of heroes here. The only swap we see coming out is Cappy on the Symmetra this time around, looking to see if they can just melt down everyone in their way and looking to use it incredibly effectively, already up to the level 3 beam, but Saika able to get that pick on them and take down all that damage very early on. Old and Bored, though, still grabbing the objective as Young and Beautiful just pull back.
Right, and this is a move that we've seen from Cappy before, swapping over to the Symmetra. Having double beam heroes against a Diva applies so much pressure, and really, there's not much she can do about that, and she kind of becomes a walking ult battery, a la Roadhog versus Reaper or something like that.
All right, we see the investment coming in once again from Young and Beautiful as the garage door gets popped out. Saika trying to find something with the Deadeye, but the barrier prevents any of that damage from making its way through. The picks come in for Old and Bored once again as they pass the 30% mark.
And they smell blood in the water. They keep pushing, and Sika realizes, hey, maybe I just let them take this before I staggered myself. Great moves, again, coming out from the Symmetra, right? So Sika goes for the Deadeye over on the side, on the left side, and Cafe says, what if I just put a really, really big wall right in front of you, and there was nothing you could do about it? So completely nullifying that ultimate. Sika is really just looking for anything, but it's so hard to find value when you have a composition like this.
All right, Maywall coming up from Sir Gibson, and that Blizzard's on the line. The Shatter does end up coming out from Timo, but gets nothing but shield for now. Sir Gibson able to get that initial pick on to Nico, so without that Mei to invest, it's going to be hard using the Cryo to be able to protect themselves against the Shatter of Ben Best. Absolutely huge right there as Pure Irish and Naru trading blows on the objective. Ben able to pull out just in time, but Naru will face not the similar fate as they reach the 80% mark.
Right. Starboy with we're just getting right back into a fight. Never mind.
Yeah, they're not even waiting for it right now. Young and Beautiful just looking to engage as quickly as possible. The Blizzard now being invested from Nico, trying to see if they can create some space, but the picks just continue to come in for Old and Bored. They were already at a disadvantage, Young and Beautiful, without having their full team, and now overtime is ticking away. 99-0 right now as the feed just continues to come in, but unfortunately, I think the Old and Bored will indeed lock down this objective, taking Oasis and starting their climb in our matchup today.
And not just taking Oasis almost perfectly. Yeah. Like, that was probably one of the cleanest games of Oasis I think I've seen in quite a while. It felt so often, like, Young and Beautiful were just, they had too much pressure on them. They couldn't figure out what to do. They were trying to use an ultimate just to make a play happen, which isn't always the best way to go about it. Whereas Olden Board always made a play happen and then used an ultimate or two to make sure that everything went smoothly. Initiating on some follow-up fights with a sound barrier from Starboy, getting some great value out of that Symmetra, as we pointed out, some good blizzards and follow-ups and zoning ults there from the May, from Sir Gibson. And in general, it just looked like Olden Board had a really good plan for Oasis, and Young and Beautiful were just not prepared. Completely caught off on the back foot, never could really regroup and rally to form a cohesive fight that got them away. I don't think they captured any point at all on Oasis. I don't think they got any percentage at all. And we very rarely see that, especially with a team full of Overwatch League level talent. Like, you would expect that to maybe be a little closer. We hype this up as a pretty close game. But if the rest of the maps go like that, we're going to be out of here in record time.
Yeah, that was just incredibly surprising right there. I don't know if it's communication or coordination or what, but it just seemed like Young and Beautiful just didn't really have a focus as to who they were going for, or if they did, it was like Olden Board immediately knew who the target was, who they were going for, and immediately started to protect it and prevented them from finishing off the damage. I think only a handful of times did Olden Board even lose a player during those fights. It just seemed to be very dominant fashion, again, as you said, coming from a team against another that is just filled to the brim with high-level talent.
Right, and I do want to point out, I've been giving a lot of individual shout-outs here, but I want to pivot over to Autumn Souls, who a couple times over the course of those fights, especially there on University in that last phase of Oasis that we saw, there were a few times where Ben Best maybe got the slip onto Teemo, or someone got frozen, or was looking like they might get a little caught out, a little forward, out of position, and the immortality fields were consistently key to the fights going the way of Olden Board throughout that entire map. I think anytime they had a moment where it was like, oh, okay, there's a wall coming, we need to this might get a little dicey for us, he was always there with the right cooldowns at the right time. And having that patience and restraint to save it for just the right moment is so key, because as mentioned, this is a mirror matchup. It's not unlike GOATS way back in the day, where one cooldown, one Zarya bubble, or one amp it up from Lucio would decide the course of an entire fight sometimes. And Autumn Soul's really playing that style, understanding that, hey, this fight will only go our way if I press this button at the right time in the right place. So great mindfulness from the support line of Olden Board, really holding it together. And Young and Beautiful, coming on the back foot as we get ready to go into Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, and as you were talking about Young and Beautiful, talking about that patience, it was really interesting seeing them push in with the 4v6. We are going to be heading to Lijiang Tower as chosen by Young and Beautiful for our next map, looking to get those controls right out of the way very early on. But if Lijiang Tower ends up being a repeat of what we saw during the first map of Oasis, I hope Young and Beautiful have a different plan than running around with like chickens with their heads cut off.
Right, and this was their map pick, maybe something they've practiced a little more in scrims or have some set compositions or rotations ready for. There's tons of options here on Lijiang. We've seen lots of Junkrat, lots of Pharah, even some space for Hanzo or Wrecking Ball. There's lots of flexibility across these stages, much like Oasis. Of course, I could be talking for nothing as we get into a pause, it looks like. We could totally just see another mirror. It's not impossible that we just see that again. But I'm kind of looking here for Young and Beautiful to go, okay, that obviously didn't work. Maybe we're just still warming up. Maybe we're not quite as practiced on this mirror meta as we might like. Let's maybe go for something a little silly. Let's maybe go for some Pharah. Let's maybe put Ben Best on the Wrecking Ball. Try and make something happen that throws Olden Board off of what is obviously a very comfortable path for them.
Yeah, that's definitely something that can be utilized, especially with where the meta, quote unquote, is right now. Honestly, there's a lot of different compositions that can be utilized to extremes, although, you know, the game at this level is counter the counters. Even sometimes the counters aren't enough if you have a skilled enough player on a particular hero. So if Young and Beautiful decide to, you know, shift their focus just a little bit and instead of going for the mirror matchup, maybe shake things up a bit, they might end up catching Old and Bored taking a nap and take the map right out from under them.
Right, and that kind of throwing them off of their game, catching them unprepared, is exactly the kind of edge that you would expect Young and Beautiful to have. They're an extraordinarily veteran squad. They're hugely prepared from their time in the Overwatch League. These guys playing for Paris and the Philadelphia Fusion, you know, just tons of experience against high caliber opponents in high pressure situations. So their main advantage really is going to be the fact that they should not mental boom. This is not a team that should crack under the pressure easily. Maybe if we get into a map 5, map 6 scenario, we start to see some little mistakes based on the pressure from them. But otherwise, this should be a team that is able every map, win or loss, to pull back and say, hey, this is just how it went. We're moving on. We're going to keep this going. We're going to keep trying our best no matter what. So for Young and Beautiful, I fully expect pull yourself back up, put your pants back on, or whatever that metaphor is. Pull your bootstraps. I don't know.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
There you go. That's the one. There's
which
no
is totally impossible if you know anything about physics.
Yeah. I was a history major, okay? I can't do math.
No worries.
But yeah, whatever the adage is, Young and Beautiful need to follow it and just play play their game. You so often hear players talk about, we played the other team's game instead. We got caught playing their game. You need to play yours. Otherwise, you're just going to keep getting bodied in the neutral as they have been. The Cement are coming out here, and they're sticking with it for Young and Beautiful.
That's a great way to start for sure, and we do see essentially the mirror matchup once again with Saika coming out on that Symmetra as well and able to get that first pick to start things off. Immortality invested, and the turret's just going to go ahead and melt everything else down for now. It looks like Oldenborg going to go ahead and pull back for just a moment to regroup as the picks continue to come in, and Young and Beautiful will take the objective and start their climb.
And a great opening spot there from Sika, who saw Starboy coming in, trying to probably go around the backside and boot people forward, cause them to overextend with his Sonic Wave, I believe. And he just said, no, what if I just blasted you with my giant laser beam? And Starboy said, understood, sir, going back to spawn now. So a great opening salvo there from Sika, and look at the ultimates here coming online. Fairly even in many spots, but Sika just now holding and getting ready to probably unleash that photon barrier.
Ooh, and already we see both oh my goodness, both barriers, both garage doors coming out, but Teemo with the fire strike. Ben Best able to trade one as well, and both Baptistes are out of the fight, so no immortalities to try to keep everybody alive right here. The trades continue to come in as Starboy and Sika able to hold this objective for now, but it looks like Old and Bored will go ahead and grab it away at the 46% mark.
Man, these guys really just need a Moira to make this a full particle effects meta. Maybe a Zarya too. Throwing in a Graviton and a Coalescence there would really turn up the eyesore effect. But having all of those photon barriers, amp matrices, shatters going out, that was pure chaos. And Olden Board come out on top at the end of it. Slightly better follow-up and mitigation of value from Young and Beautiful's ultimates. And now with almost nothing to bear here, it's going to be a neutral fight for Young and Beautiful to try and recapture this point.
All right, we see the teleporter come up, but the Maywall cuts off connection with it as Teemo already able to get that initial pick onto Nico, moving their way in. Saika already up to that level 3 beam, looking to see if they can create some space here on the objective as the sound barrier gets invested into the fight. The trades come in from the opposing Reinhardts, and Diva Bomb from Pure Irish looking finds the double kill on the objective. They have met the percentage of Young and Beautiful, surpassed it, and still hold control.
And I gotta shout out the supports again for Old and Bored. Autumn Souls with the Immortality Field and Starboy coming in with a clutch sound barrier are the only things that let them survive long enough to regroup, get their ultimates off, and just win that neutral fight with the ult advantage that they had. So great job from the supports there. And now they still have an Ant Matrix and a Photon Barrier coming online soon, but Young and Beautiful with a fast TP rotation.
Ooh, barrier coming up, splitting the point in twain as Nico invests the Blizzard as well, pushing Old and Bored off the objective, looking to get that initial pick as the Immortality Field going down now. And now we will see the wall coming up once again from Nico, separating out the objective as BenBest just laying down the hammer right now as we head almost into overtime. It looks like Young and Beautiful might be able to take this back, but they gotta get those stragglers off of that objective. Overtime ticks away, and now they have control.
So Young and Beautiful with a really aggressive rotation there, and Old and Bored with a good disengage, but ultimately that ult advantage from Young and Beautiful gave them the edge to keep pushing through that fight. And good job from their supports, Boombox Crews obviously, no spring chickens, but highly experienced players really providing the edge again for their team, letting them stay alive long enough to start just swinging the hammer, doing BenBest things as BenBest likes to do. And you can see them maybe starting to be able to play their game again, going for the aggressive plays.
All right, the Maywall comes up looking to separate, and the Blizzard trying to counter out the damage from the Ant Matrix. Now we're going to see the barrier coming up from Psycha, looking to see if they can create some space between them and Old and Bored. The sound barrier getting invested by Starboy, and Naru does find Cappy in the end. The trade comes in as Pure Irish trying to find a pick of their own, but it might be too little, too late. Overtime now ticking away as Autumn Souls trying to hold what is little left of their team together on the objective. The Blizzard coming in, the dying breath from Nico ends up taking down Autumn Souls just on its own, and Boombox now holding it together as the lone Baptiste on the objective, not having to compete with Immortalities of the other as they continue to try to hold the team together. BenBest back in the fight, able to grab the double kill as Cruz getting the follow-up on Sir Gibson. Young and Beautiful are not out of this match yet. They are getting those picks, and with 100 to 99, they take the Gardens.
So Young and Beautiful maybe starting to warm up, maybe starting to play the style they want to be playing. I'm a little disappointed we didn't see too much of that Nico Doomfist. It was just kind of a, oh god, it's the last fight, it's 99-99, I gotta get back there. Didn't really get into the fight proper. And we're getting into another pause, it looks like, or a replay of some sort, not quite sure. But in any case, just fantastic rotations all around on that last fight from Young and Beautiful. BenBest died twice, I think, over the course of that fight. The first one, I was a little critical about. It looked like he kind of just walked forward and wasn't aware his team needed him. There was a diva bomb going off on the other side of the point, and he was like, what if I just walked up and swung my hammer? But the rest of his team did such a good job after he died of going, okay, he's dead, but they just used a bunch of stuff. If we just hold out and meter our cooldowns effectively, we're gonna be able to stay alive. Let's talk through this. Let's be smart about our aggression. And BenBest managed to get back long enough for the rest of his team to kind of follow up, rally, regroup. He then died again because it's BenBest, and that's just what he does. But even so, his team worked around him and his style, which I won't call intentional feeding because it's really not. He's just an aggressive guy. He likes taking space and making space for his team. I'm very curious. I don't think we're actually going to get the Orisa, but I would love that. I am admittedly an Orisa fan. I know that is a hero non grata, as it were. Most people do not really enjoy the horse, but hey, she has her place.
Who doesn't enjoy some good old battle cattle? Come on, folks.
That's right.
And it looks like we will be getting our wish. Young and Beautiful opting to stay on the horse, the double shield going into the objective with Nico swapping over to the Junkrat, looking to be that shield destroyer. And Psycha triple kill with the turret, setting up up on the objective. Naru with the follow-up right there. And this contest is done, dead, and over. The objective is going to go ahead and be unlocked by Young and Beautiful as they start their percentage climb.
So this entire composition is just like, we're going to make a really spiky ball, and if you come anywhere near it, we're going to stab you to death with our spiky ball. We've got Nico on the Junkrat, another one of his signature heroes, frankly. He's very good on the Junkrat, dealing tons of damage, and well, you saw what Sika could do there. 75% already to the photon barrier. Cappy's only at 20, and you see Nico making the fast rotation out, doesn't want to get caught out, was looking for a cheeky kind of trap and then double tap play. Did not happen, but he makes it back safely to the rest of his team.
Whoa, the Maywall comes up, looking to separate out the Shatter from Ben Best, and looks to be successful for now, but now we see the Amp Matrix invested as well, and with those grenades going through from Nico, that's going to be a heck of a ton of damage being invested. Cappy and Sir Gibson able to find a couple of picks, but that's not going to be enough to take a Young and Beautiful down as they pass the 40% mark.
Now it looks like Old Board are completely caught off on the back foot here. They have no answer to this. Caffey's still 60% towards the photon barrier. Sir Gibson coming online with the Blizzard soon, and they do have the sound barrier to help extend that fight. But look at the ult for Young and Beautiful. They're coming online with 4 soon. The Riptire can force out so much time and so much space and so many kills if they do it right. Like, Young and Beautiful in a strong position here to keep holding and maybe 100-0 this entire round.
That could be incredibly possible, already up to that 2/3 percentage as we see the bongos invested by Naru, and the barrier from Sika just pushing Old Board off this objective. We now see the Symmetra teleporter looking to see if they can get some damage there into the back line, but we will see Old Board pull out once again. Nico looking to see when's the best time to pull that cord. When is the Riptire going to let it rip? There it goes!
It's
making its way around the outside, looking to see if he can grab it, but Timo ends up tackling it as well as Sika. Unfortunate right there. Big old German man just running your tire right on over, and it looks like Old Board are just going to run over this objective as well. At the 99% mark, Old Board take control.
I feel like we can't not shout out Timo's "Get down, Mr. President," and directly charging at a screaming, spiked, explosive tire. That's just a beautiful image in and of itself. That goes down in the Chad yearbook, I think. And now Old Board completely flipping the script, and Young and Beautiful swapping here now to the May McCree. But Old Board, they got the Shatter, they're using the Amp Matrix, and they have a bomb to help zone out on the point. So great position here for Old Board.
Ooh, Cruz almost getting caught out there just a moment as the Amp Matrix comes out from Autumn Souls. Not going to get the investment other than time on this objective, as we see the Amp Matrix now coming out for a Boombox, destroying every shield and wall that's in there with Shatter coming out from Ben Best, and without a shield to stop it all, Ben Best is just ready to go in and start on swing, and Cruz making their way into the backline finds Autumn Souls, and that is going to be it. Overtime ticks away, and Young and Beautiful take Lijiang Tower, tying it up 1-1 in our first series.
All right, so I guess this is going to be the slobber knocker we were expecting. For as dominant as Oasis was, Lijiang was just as dominant on the other side, it felt like. It was maybe a little more back and forth in terms of the actual percentages that we found and everything, but holy cow. Because Young and Beautiful making the adaptations like I called for, just trying to throw Old Board off of their game, making these hyper-aggressive rotations, just huge amounts of damage. It was exactly the kind of thing they needed to run on Lijiang to start getting them back into this map. And now with a little momentum and a little confidence, as we get over to map 3, which we don't know what it is yet, this could be the real chance for Young and Beautiful to start running away with this series, or a chance for Old Board to prove that they can hold their own, they can take a punch or two and still come back swinging.
Absolutely. These two teams are definitely looking to make this quite a matchup. So we're going to go ahead and throw it to a quick break. We'll be back with more Contenders Trials action in a few moments. Welcome back to the EMEA Contenders Trials, folks. We have quite a burning matchup going on right now between Old and Bored and Young and Beautiful. It has been incredible seeing these two teams go at it. Quite a dichotomy between maps 1 and 2. Thibault, why don't you give us a quick recap and break it down for us?
Right. I mean, you don't get maps that are more different, but you also don't get maps that are more the same than the two that we just played. It's just for different reasons, on flip sides of a single coin, we should say. Oasis is probably the cleanest map of Control I think I've ever seen. It was 200-0, which very rarely happens, much less against a team like Young and Beautiful. Oh, yeah. And then Young and Beautiful came back and said, oh, wait, we're like good at the game and can adapt and adjust and, and change up our play style on the fly. Why don't we like do some of those things? And they completely turned it around, looked really good, not quite as dominant, but dominant enough to take the 2-0 on Lijiang Tower. And now it's looking like we're getting into King's Row, which, of course, is just a stomping ground of amazing classic plays and a real opportunity, I think, for both teams to show their stuff either on the mirror or as they mix things up moving forward.
Absolutely, and I want to see more of that horse. Oh my goodness, just the like you were saying, the utilization of picking those particular heroes that are strong enough but aren't seen as the meta really challenges those teams that are kind of set in their ways, so to speak. Like we saw from Old and Bored, there really wasn't a change in their composition the entire time on Lijiang Tower, and was it to their detriment? I mean, the score kind of speaks for itself. I feel like maybe a switch or two might have needed to be in the pocketbook right there. But as we head into King's Row, you know, those possibilities are still on the table, although it's ideal for that brawly composition that you see. You know, the Rein Zarya, the Rein D.Va, you know, pretty much Rein and any hero, to be completely honest with you. You can still see a lot of different compositions as well. You can see the double bubble, you can see the hybrid, the full-on dive. You know, there's lots of different compositions that can be utilized on this map because everyone just freaking loves playing it.
Right. I mean, there's been so much time and so many games on King's Row that the strategic depth that you might find here is maybe greater than niche maps or maps that aren't picked as often, like an Oasis or something like that. So there are certainly opportunities, especially as you progress through the map. You know, your composition on the first point might be different than your composition on streets or on the last point. So we are going to have to kind of see what these teams roll out with. We've got Old and Bored coming out on the attack, and it is looking like a little more of the same, which makes sense. The Rein D.Va is good here because it establishes control at choke point, but also lets you rotate onto the high ground and contest, flanking McCree or something like that with the D.Va, which has happened a lot. McCrees love to go on the high ground flanks here and cause trouble, and a D.Va is the answer to that problem, as well as the Mei on both sides, because I think Young and Beautiful are going to be rolling out with the exact same thing that we're seeing right now. The Mei, it's one of those things where if they're running a Mei, you kind of have to run a Mei, because having the disadvantage of wall, of not having a wall of your own to help shape the battlefield is too much of a detriment really at this point to ignore. So we're looking at a mirror matchup again. Not surprised by that as we get on to this first point. Let's just see what both teams can do with it.
All right, using the statue as cover right now, we see the transition into the Alderworth Hotel from Young and Beautiful, trying to see if they can make their way on the objective and kind of just completely turn this positioning on its head. The Maywalls come out, really providing just a smaller area for them all to brawl in, as we see the Immortality come out from Boombox and immediately taken down. We will see that percentage starting to tick up from Young and Beautiful as they pull back just a little bit to the Alderworth, but the Maywall comes out to prevent any damage going through that amplification matrix. Same for the side of Old and Bored. They're just matching pick for pick right now. The rotation from Young and Beautiful coming out once again, trying to catch Old and Bored on that back foot as we see Ben Best retreating back to the safety of the team. The picks do come in from Old and Bored, and that's already a minute off the clock.
I feel like Young and Beautiful maybe got a little greedy there. They went for that back rotation after the Matrix came out from Autumn Souls, but they came back out and it was still live. So Old and Bored just turned around and said, "We'll use this side of it instead and still blow you away." And then you could have waited an extra second. That ultimate is gone, and they don't have a massive damage advantage over you. Now they have to try this rotation again.
All right, we see the Maywall coming up from Sir Gibson, trying to create space, and Cappy does end up finding Cruz in the end. Sir Gibson trying to see if they can take down Ben Best, and it looks like they will be successful with the help of Pure Irish. Blizzard invested now from Nico, again in a dying breath, but the cleanup just isn't there for them. Boombox also using that Amp Matrix, and the remake coming in from Naru after that bomb. It seems, though, that they're going to be able to continue to push in on this. They're not creating any space whatsoever. The Amp Matrix is now coming out as Saika just going in and straight on out of the Deadeye, trying to find Pure Irish after the Diva Bomb, but it's not going to be soon enough. Boombox falls, and already another minute and a half off the clock.
Such an expensive fight for Young and Beautiful. Look at their ultimates. They only have the sound barrier, and good on Cruz for holding that. It might have been because of that early death to the high noon from Caffey. Meanwhile, Old and Bored holding on to his Shatter. Admittedly, not much else, but that can really change the course of a fight all on its own if he's good at it. So let's see exactly that.
And there it is. The Immortality Field tries to hold him up, but the Maywall prevents it from doing its job, and Teemo finds the double. Pure Irish going into that backline does find Saika in the end, and the stagger. Bully onto Naru right there. Just unfortunate. Down to the final minute right now, and Old and Bored are showing that they ain't out of this fight yet.
I'm adding that clip to my perfect predictions reel because that was pretty nice. Teemo getting a great shatter there just to maintain the hold, clean up the fight. Young and Beautiful coming online with a couple now, but this is their last chance. They have to hope that Old and Bored can't get the value they want out of their ultimates because this is going to be close.
All right, beat invested from Cruz and Matrix. They're throwing everything at the wall right now as we see the big eat of the Blizzard coming in from Pure Irish. The picks coming in on either side, and it looks like Young and Beautiful have a chance. They at least have a tick on the objective, which is definitely better than what we have seen lately for sure. The Blizzard gets invested, ends up finding Autumn Souls, and Saika gets the follow-up in the end. Looking for that second tick. There it is. 18 seconds remaining on the clock as Nico just trying to create some space between them and the rest of Old and Bored, and it looks like the rest of the team will be able to regroup, but Young and Beautiful aren't wasting any time. They're looking to try to chase down the remaining members of Old and Bored, as one of them did get staggered to that late spawn, but it looks like they won't catch anybody, but that payload's going to start moving its way through the streets.
Right, no luck catching the forward spawns here, but we're having an immediate brawl on the street. Sound barriers coming out from Starboy to try and push up, and they are getting the kills they need.
Yeah, Shatter comes out from Ben Best, not finding the value that you're hoping for, and Starboy with that double is going to go ahead and take control of the payload exactly where they want it. Young and Beautiful just getting maybe a little too big for their britches right there.
Right, going for the push, the really aggressive push forward, and Young and Beautiful saying, hey, we're all here. Why not turn that back on them? I bet they're not expecting it, and that was absolutely true. Catching them off in an off-rhythm fight and then using some good ultimates there is what they needed.
All right, the Shatter does come out from Teemo, but doesn't find much of anything, and the Deadeye able to get Pure Irish after the D-Mech. The Blizzard does come, or the Freeze comes out rather, trying to see if it can create some space, and will be incredibly effective. Team kill, ringing out for Young and Beautiful as the payload makes its way through the streets.
I mean, great job for Young and Beautiful there. Nice, aggressive understanding of the fight, knowing where they needed to be and when, and good use of ultimates. Not a ton of value necessarily, but enough value and enough zoning, I suppose. We can call those some zoning ultimates that do the job, because that is what they're trying to do. They need to make space for this card to move forward on the streets. Now, Old and Bored, they're going for a fast far side rotation with the Amp Matrix to beef it up.
All right, the Amp Matrix comes out trying to create some space and keep them from pushing in that cart forward, but we see Nico on the defender's side just trying to see if they can lock down everyone right now. Pure Irish does end up getting demacked, and the Blizzard gets eaten from Naru again. Nom nom, eat him up, just getting all of them, and Young and Beautiful just not allowing Old and Bored to finish the rotation that they were looking for. They grab Objective Bravo and make their way into Objective Charlie with 2 minutes on the clock.
And that's already the second eat of this map from Naru. He has consistently shown that he is that kind of diva player. Not every diva player is the kind that really looks for those ultimate absorptions, but he's one of them, and he's very good at it. Now, Young and Beautiful, look at their ultimate coming online here as we get through streets. Just a nasty amount of tools, but they're not even going to need them.
Yeah, Sir Gibson getting caught out early with Teemo right there and not able to save them. Old and Board all headed back to spawn once again. The only one left on the objective is a DMEC Pure Irish, but they will get staggered out as well. 1:20 remaining on the clock.
And that was all the man that was just on your screen. That was all Nico playing the Mei wall tango there with Gibson. The better wall is the one that denies the most value and curtails the most players, and he's doing a great job of that so far.
All right, the Mei wall comes up from Nico as Autumn Souls tries to get over it, finds nothing but Psycha's Deadeye. As we see the beat invested from Cruz just trying to keep everyone up in the fight, provide a little bit more healing so they can get a little bit aggressive because they got to get these players off this objective. Diva Bob invested from Pure Irish does find Nico in the backline as the shatter comes out from Ben Best, clearing the objective. 45 seconds remain as Young and Beautiful grab objective Charlie.
Looks like Teemo wanted to go find Mr. Tumnus over in Narnia there for a second, because he certainly wasn't on the point. I get it. You know, you're going for the backline. You assume your team's going to be able to follow up and stay on the point. Starboy was still there, but he got taken out so fast, and just no one was able to recontest in time. And Teemo was certainly too far away. He was taking Turkish Delights from the Winter Witch, or whatever the heck her name was. So I'll keep that metaphor going for as long as I can, just because I think it's funny, but that's probably the end of it. And unfortunate, maybe sort of C9 there from Olden Board. I won't call that a full homegrown organic one, but maybe a store-bought. And now Young and Beautiful, 45 seconds on the bank is not huge, but it's something. It's not even guaranteed that you finish King's Row on a good day. So for them to at least finish it and have a little time in the bank means that they'll get an extra chance, even if Olden Board blasts through it just like they did. So you've got that. They're coming online here with the May McCree again, looking to maintain their defense in the same sort of way they manage their offense. And it looks like Olden Board as well will be maintaining the flavor of the month here as we look to get started in the next 15 or so seconds.
And right now, it's really going to be about that patience and presence that we're seeing right now. Trying to see if they can hold their positioning and not get as aggressive on the defense as one may hope. That's really going to allow Young and Beautiful to stay here, because if Naru keeps getting all those eats on Sir Gibson's Blizzards, that's going to be really hard for them to continue to create space.
Right. It's such a huge denial of such a key ultimate. And if you can do it consistently or even semi-consistently, you're going to start winning the majority of fights. It's such a huge thing to do.
Ooh, both Reinhardts end up getting blasted with those cryo guns as Nico does end up finding Teemo there at the end. The May wall utilized from Sir Gibson to try to create some space for their team to be able to back out. But Pure Irish does find Ben Best in the end. 45 seconds off the clock, but Olden Board might be heading right back in quickly.
Right, no problem starting a quick other fight here just to get the clock moving more quickly. I felt a little bad for Sika there. He had the stun, and then Nico's wall actually blocked off the headshot. Unlucky. Not that it matters now. He's still going to hit his shots, and this is great.
That's right. Didn't get the whole wall, and they will pay for it dearly. The trades end up coming in from either side as Cappy and Psycha both find picks through those AM matrices. Sir Gibson and Ben Best trading it up. It just seems to be pick for pick right now, and now it's going to come down to spawn advantage for the attacking team. Olden Board pretty much already regrouped as they make their way into the objective, and Ben Best just trying to keep themselves alive for the rest of the team to get in. Deadeye coming out from Psycha, trying to create space. That first tick already on the objective for Olden Board is a double kill coming in with the combination of the Deadeye triple kill with the Fan the Hammer, and that's going to lock down the objective again with 2 minutes remaining on the clock.
That was frame perfect from Sika right there. Just look at this play, right? Oh, there he is. He's gone. Beautiful. How do you do that? Like, the reflexes on this man, you gotta love that. You gotta give him a shout out there. because that was effectively almost over for Young and Beautiful. It was just Ben Best holding the line, saying, "Come back, we can still do this, regroup, fight," and that's exactly what they did. Now 1:49 on the clock, and Pure Irish gets Nico's ultimate this time. He said, "Hey Naru, let me do you one better, buddy. Let me show you how it's done over in the Green Isle."
All right, that was absolutely huge right there. The Maywall separating out Young and Beautiful from the objective. The only one that's able to get close is Naru, but gets frozen out, not able to get the D.Va Eat that they've been getting before. Second tick on the objective. They got a touch, but it's not going to be soon enough. Young and Beautiful have to create some space right now so that they can get ready for the next fight. But the Tedai already taking down Ben Best, so you know they're going to be heading back to that long spawn. And now it's really going to come down to Young and Beautiful trying to see if they can hold on to this cart right here as long as they possibly can. And the picks, they're coming in right now. Nico and Naru just running over Old and Board despite being at a 5v6 right now. And it looks like they'll go ahead and back up to join Ben Best at the choke.
Right, just burning some time there. They had enough people to have another fight. They just happened to lose the objective. So they said, we might as well stall it out, give Ben Best time to get back and establish ourselves here at this choke. So good for them. Some nice mindfulness of their fight tempo here. And now they're getting started on it.
Wow. Nico with the wall deny right there from Teemo. Not going to be able to find the shatter value they were looking for and gets bullied into the alleyway. The Amp Matrix does come out from Autumn Souls trying to keep the rest of the team alive, but it's not nearly gonna be enough for the aggressiveness of Young and Beautiful. They will go ahead and reclaim the objective with 2 minutes 40 on the clock.
And there's the play that makes you remember that Nico's specialty is Mei. He's so good on the hero. He has such a good understanding of like all the timings and muscle memories associated with her, and he makes plays like that happen all the time. Also, I must correct myself. I said Green Isle. It's Emerald Isle. I'm literally Irish. I shouldn't be doing that, but I just get so flustered during a cast. Also, shout out Pure Irish at St. Patrick's Day. He should be getting a buff here. So Old and Board, come on. Let's fight it up. Come on.
All right, we see the Amp Matrix invested against the Maywalls right now, trying to see if Young and Beautiful can hold it together. Immortality already invested by Boombox, and there it comes. The beat invested now from both sides, trying to see if they can push against each other. A rock and a hard place meeting in the center, and Ben Best shatters them all, looking to clean it up. Will grab 3. And they're, oh man, Pure Irish now getting the punishment that Naru got earlier. Will get sent back to spawn along with the rest of them with quite a bit of time bank shaved off.
Yeah, they didn't care that Pure Irish was wearing green. They still pinched him. Bless his heart. It's that fight, some common Overwatch wisdom for everyone listening here. The later ultimate generally wins, and that is 3 times more true when it comes to sound barriers. So Cruz's discipline there really helping them maintain that fight. And Naru with another eat on a Blizzard. That's 3 now for him.
Oh my gosh, Naru isn't even close to full, I feel, right now. Just grabbing eat after eat. And just that eat alone is able to push Olden Board off the objective for a couple of moments.
Right, I mean, that effectively stops the fight. They're not going to push now. They got to think about what they want to do next.
No.
Blizzard coming out, they're not giving them the time to think.
The Maywall ends up separating out. Pure Irish can't get the eat that they were looking for, and the picks come in. But Sir Gibson does find Nico in the chaos, and without that May to continue to hold this, it's going to be hard for them to keep this choke up for the next 30 seconds.
They've been holding, it feels like, for the past 2 or 3 minutes at this point. So with 30 seconds on the clock, Olden Board need to push now. They have ultimates to use, but he gets stunned out of his shatter.
Ooh, that's not a beauty right there. The shatter comes in for Ben Best as well. Doesn't find the value that it's looking for, and there it comes. The luck of the Irish coming up huge right now. Sir Gibson and Pure Irish finding those picks. Teemo getting the follow-up right there as the Maywall bullying Naru once again. Unfortunate, not able to touch the objective, and that payload's going to make its way forward, but they're in overtime. If any member of Old and Board is not on that objective, that overtime ticker is going to tick away so fast, it'll make a head spin.
Right, and Olden Board trying to get as much space as possible here to get the card as far forward as possible before a real fight kicks off. They are in overtime. They have to stay on the cart. That wall is obliterated. Way to go, Caffey. And the Amp Matrix here is giving them the opening that they need to say, you better back off and let us cap this, or we're going to make it real ugly for you.
Ooh, we end up seeing the defense matrix invested to keep that Deadeye at bay, and there comes the Blizzard against Naru and Benbest, but there comes the beat from both Lucios. This time Starboy going for the late beat. Let's see if the investment is wise. 1.41 meters remaining on the ticker as we see Pure Irish sending the Diva Bomb back. It's nothing but shield and wall right there. It's the Shatter comes out from Timo with no shield. It's not going to be enough for them to continue to hold on. 0.16 meters. Oldenborg really got to take this objective, and there it is. Another minute 30 remaining on the clock as they head into Objective Charlie.
Total slugfest. Another shout out to the support line there. A great immortality field to keep Pure Irish alive as he was demeching. Naru saw that he had an opening and dived hard, but that immortality field just left Naru overexposed, and that really turned the fight on its own, as well as that late beat from Starboy.
Oh, it doesn't look like Young and Beautiful learned from what they did on this point to start things off, but there was enough of them that they were able to fight out despite the Mei wall positioning right there. Saika does find the double kill with the help of Boombox on the objective, and Cruz getting the follow-up on their counter. Starboy is going to clear it once again. We're headed right back into final fight territory.
Cruz really said, "Hey, young buck, I've been doing this since 2016. You're going to have to learn from the old masters here. Let me show you how it's done," and gave him the 1-2 punch. We got the raised Deadeye. I love this play. I love that. Unfortunately, not going to be enough.
Close.
They saw that coming, and they backed well away. They said, oh, they got the plays. They got the real plays. So, again, Nico, he just knows these things. He knows my McCree is dead-eyeing, but there's a wall in the way. I'm just going to lift him up. And he's waiting for the sneaky Blizzard. Let's see if Pure Irish can...
Oh!
Yes, exactly. Yes!
Pure Irish knows exactly where they are. The Blizzard comes out. Cappy able to get to the outside of the ring just in time, but falling incredibly low. They got to push in, and they got to push in now. Starboy able to trigger the overtime just barely, so it's already a 5v6 fight. It's Benbest investing the Shatter, but not able to get the follow-up that they're looking for, and there comes Diva Bomb versus Blizzard right now as Naru ends up finding Autumn Souls in the backline, and Saika with the double kill on the objective, and now it's just the hole. The Deadeye comes out, ends up finding Starboy back on the objective again. Cappy next to fall. The only one remaining is Sir Gibson, and before they can cryo, it is done. Young and Beautiful take the lead as they take King's Row.
I mean, huge plays from both sides, really, especially on that last fight. You got Nico waiting for the cheeky little flank, and then, of course, Pure Irish saying, hey, where's Nico? That's something I should really be aware of at all times. But managing Nico to get the manual freeze onto Pure Irish, jumping away, getting the Blizzard. Not a lot of value, but at least some good zoning. And then in those final seconds, Oldenborg coming up. Sir Gibson getting some great value out of the Blizzard, but not enough. Young and Beautiful holding their own, getting the remake, hiding behind the cart, doing what they needed to do to extend that fight and just bleed them dry. It was a nice, even fight in terms of spawn timings and everything, but Young and Beautiful just had the slightest edge, and Sika with the fantastic plays to close that out, the chef's kiss shots, and with that Deadeye just to get the Mei. It's all he needed to really turn that around. So still fantastically close series, but Young and Beautiful kind of showing their experience, showing the sheer number of hours they have on King's Row, and giving us a very entertaining match in the process.
Yeah, that's something that I always hear about in different areas of the Overwatch community, is that, oh, well, you know, with everybody out now, all those shields and defense matrices and walls, McCree is just absolutely useless unless you're using it for a zoning alt. No. I mean, yes, zoning alt is important. It is helpful, but all it takes is one. It only takes that one pick to turn the entire tide of the fight around. It really does. And even if you get that one, if you're, as we saw from Young and Beautiful, being able to waste time is just enough to be able to put things in your favor. They were able to hold that first objective after it was captured, keep that payload in place for just about 15 seconds, just enough so that they could see Benbest get back to that choke, and they just burned down that clock after that.
Exactly right. So much of that effort was not to win the fight. It was just to hold the line. It was hide behind the cart, get in cover in blue room right there with the Mega where you saw Sika on the McCree. Just stay alive long enough. That's all we need. We just need to come back, get a couple kills on the board, and that's it. They're in overtime. And as mentioned again by you and your fonts of wisdom here, sometimes you don't need the 5-man bomb or the big grav combo or anything like that. Sometimes you need one Deadeye kill. You need the right people to get shattered at the right time or just get caught out by one ultimate. You can be economical and still make the plays you need to win a fight. And the best teams will always get the most out of the least. So getting that one key kill on such a strong stalling hero like the Mei in overtime is exactly what that Deadeye needed to do. No more, no less. And that is what gave Young and Beautiful, one of the things that gave Young and Beautiful the win on that last fight in what was a tumultuous and back and forth King's Row. And now we are looking at Rialto, which is another entertaining map that these pros are really starting to enjoy. Some iconic games here. Some of the fastest capture times in Overwatch have happened on this map. Yes. Teams like the Titans back when they were the like 2.0 version of Runaway, as well as the Shock and even Dallas and the Mayhem have all posted times. I don't have the exact numbers, but they're real fast. It's this map and Volskaya that teams absolutely blow through and set crazy records on. The Overwatch League will occasionally post leaderboards about how fast teams have captured them, and it's crazy. It's crazy. These guys finish these before I can like take a sip of water sometimes.
Wow.
So maybe we see something like that here. Maybe we see more of that like back and forth super brawly street style that we saw in King's Row. It's really an open basket. So I'm curious to see what version of Rialto we're going to get with these two teams on the board.
I can definitely concur with that. I'm personally, I'm hoping to see more of a dipping composition, but I don't think that that's going to be coming out here for Young and Beautiful. They're going to get brawly once again. I know that my console plat brain thinks, all right, do as we've been saying, do the most with the least, and you pull out the Hog, you pull out the Orisa, the Lucio, and just send them all into the canal. If they're in the river, I mean, you don't have to deal with them. They just go back to spawn on their own. It just drags them back like the river Styx. So, but it doesn't look like we will be seeing that nonetheless. It looks like they're looking to get brawly and give up some space here on that high ground advantage.
Right. Hardly surprising given what we've seen so far today that we're seeing these compositions come out again. As much as I would also love to see the Orisa Hog, well, ultimately there's just too much CC and too much damage coming out on those big hitboxes to really make it worth it. Right. So now Oldenborg just pushing forward, casually getting the flicks, Caffey doing Caffey things here, and they're just going to move this cart right through what might otherwise be a pretty contentious choke. So good for them.
Ooh, just couldn't get the drop down exactly when they needed it to, and without a Nico in the fight right now, it's going to be hard for them to hold. They're already pushed up to the first objective as we see Young and Beautiful trying to find a way to re-engage. Sir Gibson already waiting for that wall, trying to create some space right there for the cart to get just that much closer. Young and Beautiful will go ahead and push up on the cart as we see Oldenborg pulling back. Saika does end up finding Timo there. That may, while helping out, separate once again the Reinhardt from the rest of the team, and the picks just continue to come in for Young and Beautiful. Boombox, he can be taking advantage of being that hyped Soldier 76 for a double kill of their own.
Right. It felt like Oldenborg just kind of couldn't figure out what to do there. It looked like they were trying to push up, but then didn't want to go around the choke point. They didn't know really what Young and Beautiful were going to bring a bear against them, and then they just kind of fell apart there. So interesting fight, but now we're getting back into a new one.
See the Deadeye invested, does get a lot of damage in them. The Immo saves them from being taken out with Pure Irish and not able to remech it just yet. That's going to create a lot of time in the bank for Young and Beautiful, or as Oldenborg trying to just create space so that they can get that remech in for Pure Irish, getting incredibly close right now as we see Naru on that high ground. Ben Best just holding onto that Shedder, ready to lay it down as as soon as they drop from that high ground advantage, and it looks like they are almost there, but the Maywell separating out either team. It looks like they will be able to hold strong for now, as BenBeth does find Boombox in the end. The beat now invested from Starboy, trying to keep the rest of the team up in the fight, but the Blizzard from Nico just cleans it all up. Popsicles, anyone? As Young and Beautiful enjoy their time on the cart.
I don't like the idea of popsicles anyone when the popsicles are players, but hey, we'll take it. We'll let the metaphor go. I won't get too morbid with that. It really just feels like Olden Board are so indecisive right now. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to approach. Now, though, they're getting a little decisive. They catch BenBeth out, but the sound barrier counters perfectly, and Cruz gets the kill before the DMEC happens.
Ooh, we see the trade coming in from Pure Irish as well. Does grab Naru. So without either Diva on the field, not going to be a lot of damage eaten unless it's by Shield. The Deadeye, though, finding two for Psycha right there, able to grab the perfect angle to be able to get Olden Board unawares right there. Now remember, this is possibly their final map. Young and Beautiful just got to grab Rialto, so it's really on Olden Board to figure out this strategy.
And it would be disastrous for Olden Board to be held here. With 30 seconds left, and they would effectively have to make the greatest hold in Rialto history to break this to a map 5, and you really don't want to be forced into that position. They must move decisively. They must make something happen now or never for Olden Board.
All right, the Amp Matrix invested on the high ground, pumping out some damage and heals to keep them up in the fight, and the DMEC comes in onto Naru. The Maywell comes out, trying to separate Teemo from the rest of the team, but it's not going to be enough. Gaffy does end up finding Naru before the remake, and the picks just litter the kill feed right now. Olden Board showing that they are not out of this fight just yet, and as overtime ticks away, it looks like they will end up grabbing objective alpha, unless we see a quick contest here.
That should do it. That staggered kill there onto Sika should do it. The opening pick onto Naru gave Olden Board the advantage, but now Pure Irish is in the same boat. He's demeched right now. There's a total chance for Young and Beautiful 5v6 or no to come in and take this point back.
Ooh, we see the beat invested from Starboy just in perfect time to keep Teemo up in the fight, and now it's up to Young and Beautiful to try to push them off this objective. The Deadeye coming out from Cappy and gets nothing but defense matrix as they continue to try to push their way in. That shatter coming right in from BenBeth. The Teemo having one of their own and not able to stay on that objective. Olden Board grab it, but the fight is far from over right now as Young and Beautiful just trying to stagger it out for as long as possible, burning another 20 seconds off of that time bank.
That was a crazy last fight, we should say, on that first point. We see Sika getting some great kills here in this replay, but what I wanted to point out more was the fact that Naru got picked out early to start that fight, but then Pure Irish getting picked out of his mech towards the end of it is what gave Young and Beautiful that recontest opportunity. Obviously not enough. They did get zoned off the point, but now they can set up on high ground in the street space here and go for some wacky round-the-back plays.
All right, Psycha getting sped around the side, looking to see if they can grab the value, but gets run down by Pure Irish, out of position, not able to grab that value with the Deadeye, and now they're trying to keep Olden Board off of this cart. The freeze comes in, getting the DMEC onto Pure Irish, looking to see if they can stagger them out. Now Sir Gibson is in Psycha's sights, looking to get the follow-up, but Boombox is like, no, I'll go ahead and take this one. Don't you worry. Keep that Peacekeeper holstered there, partner. 1 minute, 10 seconds remaining on the clock as Young and Beautiful retake control.
I mean, you can't blame Sika for staying alert there. Another quarter seconds and his head would have been rolling across the floor. Would have been added to the museum exhibits there. Now Olden Board looking for a recontest, denying value from that Amp Matrix, but they got to move. They got to get out of the way of that thing and get back to the cart if they want to keep this moving. It's less than a minute already.
All right, speeding their way through the museum with only 45 seconds remaining on the clock. Nico has that Blizzard ready and raring to go, and there it is. They found Sir Gibson, and a pick comes in quick and deadly. Diva Bomb invested by Naru, looking to see if they can find additional picks, but it looks like Starboy able to speed the rest of the team out of that Blizzard, keeping them safe for now. The Deadeye from Cappy looking to see if they can get some follow-up. It's Teemo finding Cruz, but the shatters! Monsters coming out from Timo and Ben Best. One is like, anything you can do, I can do better. And that payload just moves its way forward once again. But now, Young and Beautiful have Oldenburg again in overtime, and they have the spawn advantage once again.
A tense overtime situation, but we got to shout out Timo there. That fire strike through the Ant Matrix, denying the sound barrier and winning them that fight almost single-handedly. That boot denied, though, by the ice block.
Woo! We see the Diva Bomb fed in from Pure Irish, not able to find the value that it's looking for, and the Immortality already out for Autumn Souls. Now the beat is going to be invested by Starboy, trying to keep the team up in the fight as much as they possibly can. Ben Best, first one to fall in the fight as the Ant Matrix gets invested by Boombox. The picks trying to come in. Psycha trying to find the tiny little head of Cappy on that Symmetra. Now you got to know that teleporter is in the back line, and now Nico on that Doomfist looking to create some space and just slap everybody off of that objective. The DMEC Ore coming out for Naru, not going to be able to hold the line on that objective as much as they would like, and the pick comes in onto Ben Beth, but Psycha with the triple kill cleans it all up, and just shy of objective 2, Oldenburg will head to the defense.
Some cheeky flexes there at the end from both teams, the Doomfist and the Symmetra. Neither one having a huge impact, maybe a little, some kills on the side here and there. It was really all down to the Maze in that fight. Or the McCrees, I should say, excuse me. I'm getting my M heroes mixed up. The boop coming through, you saw there, the ice block denying the high noon, but then Sika saying, hey, I don't need the high noon to get kills. What if I just click your head or something? Isn't that what I'm supposed to do? To great effect, as he has been doing this entire series, of course, and just overall, Oldenburg, I think if they had another minute on the clock there, they could have regrouped and gone for another good fight, but they just burned so much in the early phases of that map that they never had a good bank to back off on. They had to keep the pressure going, and that forces you to expend resources to have expensive fights, and Young and Beautiful, with all the time in the world to contest that, could approach it in a much more measured way and really just pick the one fight they needed. But look at this.
Oh, man.
That Boombox can see this. Boombox can see this coming, and they are adapting. So it looks like we might have probably the earliest fight on Rialto I think you can possibly have, as we're setting up with the Symmetra. This looks like it could be nasty, but I don't know for who.
Yeah, it's definitely going to determine which team is going to come out and get aggressive first. You just see Psycha and Cruz just sitting there in that side room like, hey, what's going on? We're not coming out there. We're not silly. All right, Ben Best making their way to the objective. Ori starting to move that cart forward as the Maywalls come up. Timo does find Nico, but the trades come in from the side of Young and Beautiful. The DMEC comes out on Naru, but that's going to be just about it. Naru going for the quick reset as Pure Irish gonna go ahead and get staggered out here just a moment, but that cart's gonna move quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Oh, it's moving, but Oldenburg do have time for another fight. That first position was just to make sure they had at least 2 fights on first, to burn as much time as possible off the clock. They cannot allow Young and Beautiful to win a fight and get the point all at once. They need to split this up and take as much time as possible to have an equal time bank and to try and hold them in streets. Now we're getting another fight. This might not even be the last one of the point.
Ooh, Shatter coming in after Nico just freezing up a majority of the team in that choke, and the cleanup just comes in huge right now. Pure Irish holding the cart all on their lonesome, able to shave a little bit more time off that bank. Right now, it just doesn't seem to matter. Young and Beautiful are here with a vengeance, as we just see Pure Irish trying to find their way to the edge.
And there's your pint of Guinness, bud. All right, Oldenburg, they're trying to burn time, and I get it, but they're also opening themselves up so effectively. Now they're using ultimates. They're getting the boop onto Nico and going for the key contest here in the last part of the first phase.
There we go. Great positioning right there, and with the May out of the fight, not going to find the value they're looking for. Naru sending the bomb over the side, ends up grabbing the immortality to win. Timo's back is turned. Psycha and Boombox come out with the picks. It's a 3v6 fight, and that's another cleanup coming in strong from the Young and Beautiful. If you got to be pointed in 2 directions, you're gonna miss it. And with 4 minutes and 20 seconds on that time bank, they're gonna be moving their way through point 2.
And some stagger kills to start here as well. This is rough. They don't have a lot of street space to work with, and Young and Beautiful are going to be able to push through some of the most contentious points, the best points for Oldenboard to set up their defense. They're going to completely bypass that off of that fight and off of those staggers. Young and Beautiful getting tons of value off of that pincer play, as you pointed out. Which one are you going to look at? The Diva Bomb that kills you instantly, or Ben Best who kills you, but it's more painful? And now we're setting up for Lash Fight already here.
All right, we see the Ant Matrix utilized on the high ground, but Oldenboard just rotates the shatter. Coming out from Ben Best is looking to clean it up now. Blizzard also invested from Nico as the Diva Bomb trying to find the quick remech, but not going to find the value it is looking for. Psycha popping out the Deadeye as well. Double, triple kill coming in. Team kill rings loud and proud as Young and Beautiful are headed into final fight territory.
And look at this time bacon, look at the distance. 3 minutes 20 here, and we're looking at less than 10 meters, and Oldenboard have to even just get to the point in the first place.
All right, they're speeding their way in, trying to see if they can keep it where they can, and Timo does end up finding Ben Best in the end. Sir Gibson with the trade on Nico as well. Only the Ant Matrix utilized during that fight, and it looks like it was just enough. 3 meters shy, and with 30 seconds off the clock, Oldenboard have a time to breathe.
Right, and they at least pushed forward and had the fight they needed to. They were unafraid. They took the space that they had to take because it was the only space they had left. Pure Irish, though, he had to jump off the edge just to get his mech back. He makes it back in time, but just barely. And now they have to hold this, again, 2.5 minutes on the clock to hold this, 10 or 15 meters now the card is getting to. This is going to be a hard ask. They must be smart with their ultimates and not give away too much for free.
All right, let's see if they can make it happen. The rotation comes out from Young and Beautiful as Cappy takes to the high ground that was abandoned by Young and Beautiful, finding Nico just propped up for all to see by Sir Gibson after the cryo ends up, and that is it. The point is cleared once again, and Young and Beautiful, the rest of the team taking a hard reset with 2 minutes on the clock.
Great fight for Oldenboard there. They didn't use much. They're coming online with 5 ultimates, but Young and Beautiful look like they're doing about the same, right? You have Nico's a little farther behind, just a little, and Cruz, most importantly, Cruz is behind about 15% on that sound barrier. He's going to try and look to build that up in maybe a longer fight here. We're under 2 minutes, though, so if Oldenboard can maybe only use 1 or 2 to win this fight, they have a real shot of taking us to a map 5.
All right, the Ant Matrix comes out and does end up separating Nico and Naru from the rest of the team. Ant Matrix now out for Autumn Souls, trying to create some space for Oldenboard, and Young and Beautiful know they've got the time to invest right now. But no, the Maywall separating out Ben Best from the rest of the team as the picks continue to come in. Oldenboard may look like they've been bored so far, but they are not out of this yet.
Yep, they are opening their eyes to this one. They see map 5 in their sights. As we get a friend request, we're loving all the people who want to be our friends and that are supporting Tier 2 in this fantastic game. Oldenboard having, again, exactly the fight they needed to have, right? Only using the Ant Matrix. They have tons of resources here to stall, to buy space, to keep themselves alive. The Maywall getting great value, but Nico on the backside flank. That was a great shot from the observers there to catch that.
That's a beautiful bait as Nico with the Venn diagram of Blizzards in the backline. Shatter coming out from Ben Best does end up finding Sir Gibson, and this is the space that Young and Beautiful need to make with only 25 seconds remaining on the clock right now as Nico separating out the remaining members of Oldenboard from those getting ready to spawn back into the fight. Pure Irish is alone, just trying to hold as much as that Irish heart can hold, and Sir Gibson able to get back in the fight just long enough to be able to touch the cart, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make a difference. Just shy of overtime, Young and Beautiful take our series 3-1 against Oldenboard on Rialto.
And Oldenboard were doing so well there, maintaining their ult efficiency and economy perfectly. And then Nico happened. Blizzard didn't get a lot. It wasn't a huge freeze everyone, win the fight easily sort of ult. But it did do one thing, and that made everyone turn around and go, huh? And in that brief moment of going, oh my God, how many people are behind us right now? They're using Blizzard. We need to back away. Where are we even going to go? In all that confusion caused by one man, one crazy French man. The rest of the crazy French men step forward and go, "Ha ha! We caught you distracted, didn't we? Now we will hit you with our baguettes and win the map." And that's really all they needed. Young and Beautiful just needed that cheeky little play, because they're straight on fights, pretty 50-50 throughout that map, right? Or at least that phase of the map. They were almost just as likely to win as to lose. But in those latter ones, they knew Old and Board were maintaining their ult economy really well. They had to go for something cheeky. They couldn't just expect to draw out ultimates. They didn't have the time. And they didn't want this to go to a map 5, because most teams don't, really. They would much rather get the 3-1 than have to deal with a map 5 for a 3-2.
Absolutely.
So going for that little clutch play there at the end is just what they needed. Just that little bit of special sauce to make something happen. And shout outs to them, because wow, that was crazy.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and throw it to a quick break while we wait to get our interviewer set up here. Don't turn away just yet. We'll be back with more Contenders Trials action in a few moments. Welcome back, folks. We have the flex support of a young and beautiful here with us in the production booth, Boombox. Boombox, how are you feeling after this victory against Olden Board?
I mean, it always feels good to win, I guess. But it's just a round robin, so it doesn't feel as good as winning some money, I guess.
Fair, definitely fair. We'll head in that direction hopefully pretty soon with the way Young and Beautiful are playing. How's it been kind of figuring out the meta and kind of meshing with this team and really just getting a feel for being back into competition and everything?
Well, I feel like EU always favors certain things more in meta, so we're just playing around that a lot. Like, every time, I guess, there's no Overwatch League, no one really knows what the true meta is. Even in Overwatch League, they sometimes don't. So it's always just fun to experiment and find out. And it's been really fun to like start scrimming and playing again.
And what kind of prep did you all do against Olden Board for today?
Well, we looked at Oasis, and that went very well. So, yeah, we just practiced our game and focused on ourselves mostly.
Awesome. We did love the appearance of the horse, let me tell you.
It's a bit of a niche play, but hey, sometimes that's exactly what you need to pull out a map like this. So looking forward through the rest of the week and on and kind of who you've been playing as well. What are some highlights or teams and players that you're looking forward to facing?
Well, I'm looking forward to playing everyone that we have left. O1, because they play some real spicy compositions, which will be fun to play against. And also New Kings is also just going to be fun. I don't know, I just like playing against everyone.
All right.
That's a good attitude to have. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's here. Might as well get your shot at everyone since you're going to be seeing them later on anyways. Well, we won't hold you up anymore. Is there anyone that you'd like to shout out after your well-fought victory?
Not really. I don't know.
We'll take it all the same. Thanks for coming, man.
Yes, thank you so much, Boombox. We are going to be prepping our next match here very shortly. New Kings versus O1 Esports sitting in the pocket. Do not change that channel, folks. We will be back with more Contenders trial action in a few moments. Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to the EMEA Contenders Trials. Day 3 going on real smoothly right now as we just saw Young and Beautiful taking away the 3-1 against Old and Bored. Now, we've had such a very close matchup during our first match, and now we are the exact opposite. We are looking at essentially both ends of the Contenders Trials spectrum right now, with New Kings completely undefeated, 2 3-0s in their pocket against 01 Esports, who are, they've got some unique compositions, but are really struggling to try to find those final moves that they need to be able to, find their foothold in this tournament.
Unique is definitely a way to put it. As we mentioned kind of at the top of the broadcast here, 01 Esports, no coach, no scrims, no strategy, forehead to keyboard, make things happen type of team, which I love, I respect greatly. I think there's something to be said for that Clockwork Vendetta style. It's very emblematic of the EMEA region to kind of have a team that's just like, we're good at these heroes. Let's just make it happen with what we've got. One of the originals actually was Choose Money Crew, not the European version, but the North American version, with players like Brandito and No Hear You, as well as current Florida Mayhem general manager and my boss, Albert. So just teams that make the most out of just being really good at a particular hero and saying, you're going to have to adapt to us. That said, if any team's going to, I think it will be New Kings, as mentioned, undefeated, looking very clean so far. Another team full of ridiculous talent, much like Young and Beautiful, who we just discussed. You've got Grathen and Psycho running up the DPS line. You have Lulgus and KSA on the tank line, which just feels unfair. And then Exarath and Dreedro, these huge veterans of the scene that have been around in Europe for ages, rounding out a rock-solid roster. So this will be a real test for 01, I suppose, because this is not some team that you can really throw off their game too easily. You're going to have to put in the work.
That is true, but we did see that with some high-level plays here. Both Young and Beautiful and Old and Bored being thrown off each other's game just a little bit here and there. So, and we do have to note that one of the 3-0s was the forfeit due to Marigo pulling out of Contenders Trials. And so it might be that New Kings just might have a leg up right now. As we say in my home community, it's all about who gets to the end. And we're going to be starting off once again on Oasis. It looks like we already got a pause on the field, just a little quick blip, and we're back into the action. This time around, we're starting on University, though, and that's going to create some incredible use of that high ground. Seeing the different metas that come out, Goku thinking to opt on to the McCree, although that's not typically where we see them.
I think this is a total fake. We're getting closer now. We're seeing Silent swap from the Sigma that I've never seen him play to the Wrecking Ball, which is all I've seen him play. Yubi on the Tracer, who is disgusting and terrifying on that hero. He does things I didn't think were possible, like blinking into the middle of 6 people, booping a diva on the nose until the Matrix goes away, and then sticking her with a pulse bomb. Goku there on the Pharah is exactly what I was expecting, as Yubi swapping to the Quick Sim teleport strat, and New Kings coming out with a fairly standard play, but Psycho on the Tracer to mirror Yubi here, knowing that you need to have that duel. I really like that adaptation from New Kings. Let's see what they can do with it.
All right, with the speed and ferocity, 01 Esports already have control of the high ground, but New Kings are setting themselves up on that objective. Yubi already on the hunt right now, looking to see who that first pick is going to be. Exarath looking kind of tasty in that backline, but not able to get the follow-up that they're looking for. They are pushing them back into this side room, and as the point unlocks, 01 Esports taking an early lead, but going to go ahead and give all that percentage back until Goku able to find Grathen and the follow-up on Exarath, and just like a set of dominoes, they are tumbling down. It looks like New King's gonna have to head back to spawn as 01 Esports take control.
And the big thing to talk about here, we mentioned O1, obviously kind of a team of one tricks for now with some minor adaptation here and there, but really this is going to be 95% of what you see from them. And I want to highlight Goku again. The big thing about Farah is not that Farah is super strong right now or anything like that. It's just that Goku doesn't miss. He just doesn't miss his shots. He hits all the time. And when you're actually putting out that much damage effectively, it completely changes the opinion of the hero. This is not just some eye in the sky splash damage sort of thing. This is like some hard, direct damage, and you have to respect it because he does stuff like that all the time.
All right, and with Grathan already out of the fight due to that barrage, KSA does get the trade-off, but the percentage continuing to climb now as Yubi in that back line looking to see if they can find a pick. Exareth does pay it back by sending Silence back to spawn and creates an opening for New Kings to possibly move back into this fight. Psycho with the cleanup on Emo and Yubi, and that might be just what they need. At the 50% mark, they will take control of the objective.
So beyond the crazy Pharaoh play, the other thing that really characterizes O1 Esports' style is the fact that they never back down. They never let a fight end unless they are all dead. So I think O1's just commitment to aggression might be their downfall against a team like New Kings, who are happy to punish them for it. If you can catch them off guard and moving too far forward, O1 might start to crumble. And so far, that's what we're seeing with New Kings establishing control on this point.
All right, Grathan coming out with the Deadeye, but the absolute aggression from Goku, it doesn't get found by a Diva Bomb. Now coming in from Emo, and Grathan just looking at it and hoping it would go away, but it's not going to happen that way. Emo getting an additional follow-up pick right there, but the percentage continuing to climb. Shatter coming in, and Silence right where they stand, and that is it. Lulshish and the rest of the team will go ahead and push them back as New Kings take the lead.
Right, and I mean, that's what you get sometimes. Sometimes you just need that one shatter to shut down that pesky Wrecking Ball who's always bouncing around your backline, and we'll just more than happy to make that happen. He's probably going to build another this fight because that's just what he does as well. Just an icon of Reinhardt, one of his favorite heroes, one of his best heroes, and the Matrix coming through from KSA says, nah, Goku, you're not making that happen. Yubi will make that happen, though.
That's right. Yubi in that back line, knowing that the E probably will come in, but Psycho gets the pulse bomb onto Goku, and Murba soon to follow, heading back to spawn as well. It's a 4v5 fight on the objective right now as Lul grabbing a double kill of their own on that tank line will secure the university once again as we head into final fight territory.
Right, and not a lot to work with for O1 Esports. They just have to be able to get back onto the point. A long fight will let them use both their support ults and that self-destruct. New Kings, though, coming on with both tank ults and this Deadeye as well. So that's the key difference here. Let's see who can get more value out of what they've got.
All right, Valkyrie already invested early in the fight, and here comes out the beat from Gara. Shatter from Lul looking to see if they can find the value, but Goku and Silence are in their back line, just absolutely destroying right now. Lul trying to see if they can get a pin, but O1 Esports is just too fast, too speedy, unless somebody's stunning him out of position. Lul able to find the pick onto Gara, but it's too little too late, and O1 Esports able to turn this right back around in their favor.
So it turns out support ultimates get a little more done than tank ultimates, especially when those tank ultimates are just a shatter that completely whiffs. Sorry, Lulshish, I hyped you up and said you were really good at Reinhardt, and then you whiffed that shatter so horribly. Now O1 Esports holding here, 70%. They have to be perfect, though. Against New King's 3 ultimates, opening with the Deadeye here, they have to hope that their Diva can hold it together, and the Pulse Bomb denied by the Immortality Field, though. Good job for Exarath.
That was perfect right there, but Goku doesn't care about that immortality and grabs 2 regardless. Silence getting the follow-up as well, and we are shortly getting ready to head into another final fight territory as O1 Esports edges that 90% mark.
Great disengage from New Kings as Lulshish swaps onto the Wrecking Ball and Grathan swaps onto the Echo. The zoning minefield here just to make sure someone's got to get hurt before getting on the point, but Lulshish with a perfect bounce to get away. He's not going to survive those, the thing.
Well, the overtime is now ticking away, 99-99 right now. O1 Esports really giving them a run for their money. Diva Bomb gets traded. KSA does find the double kill, and that's going to be the ticket that New Kings need to take this objective right back. Overtime now back to ticking away. They've got to get in there, and Yubi tries to touch, but it's not going to be soon enough. The Pulse Bomb locks down the choke, and that's 100-99 as New Kings take the university.
So a big weakness when your team is running Pharah and Mercy 99% of the time is that if you're in the air and a diva decides to throw a bomb, she's probably going to hit you, or maybe you just go for a remake on point and they happen to both be there, however it works best for you. But that's just a thing that O1 has to be aware of. I feel they are a team that does not often consider the strategy or positioning or location of anything, really. They just kind of show up and start clicking on things. But you have to be aware of stuff like that. You really have to be looking out for the Diva Bombs and the Reinhardts and so on, because they tend to be kind of impactful players in a fight like this.
All right, we see some switch ups on the New Kings opting for the Bald Diva dive. Whoa. With Psycho taking on the Echo. We have not seen a lot of Echo play in this series just yet, and Goku getting that initial pick on Exarath, not going to be a good way to start things off. Silence able to get the trade onto KSA as well after we see the DMAC coming in, and Goku is just aggressive in that sky once again. The percentage now getting ready to go to O1 Esports as they grab control.
And Psycho is that kind of player. He is the guy to flex onto the Echo and try and make something happen in the sky. But you saw Goku in that fight. Look at how many rockets he was hitting, and from a distance, too. He doesn't need to get close to you to be dealing that direct rocket damage, and there is no fall off. So that's just a huge edge for a player when they're hitting their shots like that. Whereas Psycho, you kind of got to get in close. You got to be hitting your stickies and your focusing beams. That's tough to do. It's harder to do, really. Meanwhile, Silence, of course, is just wreaking havoc in your backline, and Yubi's doing tracer things all over the place.
That is true. Silence and Psycho getting the trade right there as the Pulse Bomb comes in from Grafin, ends up taking Emo out of the mech, but Goku does find Deirdre early in that fight as well, and it doesn't look like it's going to be enough for them to go ahead and clean this point back up in their favor, but O1 Esports bringing it right on back. Silence just running everybody over, grabs the double kill and continues to hold control as they reach the 50% mark.
And New King so close there on a few different points of getting a pick, taking down Silence, or getting some key target, and always denied. M5 and Gara really do a great job. I don't talk about them much when I'm going over O1 because they have such forward-facing stars in Goku, Yubi, and Silence, but that's almost a good thing. The way O1 plays, you don't want to be talking about sports too much unless it's the occasional shout-out like this.
All right, the minefield gets invested from Silence, littering the high and low ground alike, and Grafin does end up finding that pesky Yubi in their backline, able to get the cleanup that they are looking for. New Kings have the advantage in this 4v5 fight as KSA makes it a 3v5, taking down Silence as well. Control goes to New Kings as O1 Esports reset.
I'm waiting for Goku to hit these crazy air shots. He finally realizes, hey, maybe this fight is over, but it takes a long time for O1 to generally figure that point out, and that can sometimes cost them. They have to be careful about that and not extend these fights too much, or New Kings will easily bring this back, even with the 80 or so % disadvantage that they have now. O1, though, with a lot of ultimates to come back online with this, they could throw out the Diva Bomb just to force the Echo out of position, or get a cheeky Pulse Bomb stick, or engage with the sound barrier.
All right, we see the beat invested from Gara, looking to see if they can find some value. Pulse Bomb also coming in, but doesn't find the value that it is looking for either. And now Psycho is on the wrecking ball as well. Balls all over the field right now as Goku comes out with the barrage, not able to find the value they are looking for either. All these ultimates being invested and very few picks coming in as Lulshish able to send down the minefield at the final moment, just creating some space for New Kings to continue to breathe.
60% now for New Kings and climbing. 0-1 Esports, not much to work with here. The minefield and the pulse bomb, maybe, there's some clutch potential there. Both of those players have gotten big kills with those ultimates before. But look at New Kings here, establishing great position, maintaining high ground with 3 ultimates of their own. That Ant Matrix especially could really catch out the airborne players from 0-1 if they position it right. Or you just eat a pulse bomb. I guess that's fine too.
Big eat from KSA. Tired of Yubi sticking that pulse bomb to their back and going to get that follow-up right there. But Yubi just ends up turning their sights on to Lolshish as Gara gets the follow-up as well. 0-1 Esports not out of this fight yet. As we get ready to head into final fight territory, they got to remove all of the New Kings off of this objective if they hope to turn this around in their favor. Overtime now ticking away as Gara able to find that pick on Exarath without that huge amount of healing on the objective. It's going to be hard for New Kings to continue to sustain. Diva Bomb used for the remake right there as KSA able to get back in, not able to get back in that fight. Ends up getting found by Yubi right before the remake finalizes, and the pulse bomb goes on to Lolshish to try to get them pushed off of this objective as well. Overtime continuing to take away as Psycho moving their way into the objective. The stickies, the pulse, all being invested. The immortality tries to hold everything together, but it's just not enough as Goku and Grathan end up trading the picks on the objective. Overtime continuing to tick and tick and tick away as KSA ends up finding themselves demacked and taken out by Yubi, and just in a fury, control goes back to 0-1 Esports.
Lovely viewers, if you've never seen an 0-1 Esports fight before, that was a pretty good encapsulation. It's so back and forth, it literally never stops. Every fight takes 3 times longer than you expect it to, and somehow they end up winning it at the end. Of course, that's not the round. Now we're in 99-99, which is where it gets real squirrely, but both support ults coming out is a good start from 0-1.
All right, they've invested everything they got. The barrage finds 2, takes down the immortality field as well, but Grathan does take Goku out of that sky, and now it's going to be up to getting those tanks off of that objective. Silence ends up taking down Drudro, and that's just what they need with both supports out of the fight. For the side of New Kings, they just got to clean this up as quickly and quietly as possible, or don't be quiet. It really doesn't matter at this point. Yubi able to find KSA after the DMAC, and the follow-up continues to come in, but New Kings reinvesting into the objective as we see Drudro moving on to the Lucio, but they can't get there fast enough. 100-99 as 0-1 Esports ties it up in the Gardens.
And this is just 0-1 Esports' way. They refuse to let a fight end. They are always willing to come back in and try and clutch it out. Goku especially will always take the opportunity to go, hey, I know it's like 3v6 right now, but what if I just direct hit all of you several times until you die? And a lot of times you don't really have an answer to that sort of question. You just kind of say, huh? And then your face explodes. Yep. And that's just how he likes to play. And you can hardly blame him when he's so effective. New Kings showing, obviously, that they are fantastic players here. They have a great understanding of, air quotes, traditional Overwatch and its rhythms. But 0-1 Esports specialize in throwing teams off of those rhythms and forcing them to adapt to their tempo, playing their game. That is their greatest strength. But Grathan getting that pick says, we're not going to worry about that right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we've been talking about the last couple of days, is the fact that if you do not get the value that you are looking for on Goku, they will just be completely unhinged, which has been working out well for now. But New Kings just going to go ahead and run over every single member on the ground for the side of 0-1 Esports, taking control of the objective.
A lot of people have made the point that 0-1 Esports will drag you down to their level and then beat you down there, but the team that can counter them best is a team that has no problem fighting down there. And New Kings look like, hey, you want to get scrappy and get aggressive? We'll play those kind of games with you. We'll run right in your face, and what are you going to do about it? Lolzis especially has always been so good at being aggressive, and Wrecking Ball is the perfect enabling hero for him to make that space and really ask 0-1 Esports, what are you going to do now?
That's right. Grathan able to find that follow-up onto Gara there in the sky, and 33% now, already a third of their way to locking down Oasis.
Super back and forth all the way through. Both teams just looking for openings, looking for weaknesses in the other's armor. It's a matter of who's going to find it first. Ultimate's pretty even on both sides, but New King slightly ahead. Using that Ant Matrix could be a good window for them.
All right. Unfortunately, the window is open in both directions right there, and Silence has no problem just busting their way right on through it. Yubi with the follow-up as well, and that is just going to be a cleanup right there from O1 Esports, just taking down the dismantling right there as they continue to move their way into this objective. 69% and continuing to climb as New Kings just trying to hold on to the objective as long as humanly possible. The only one left on the objective right now is Lolshish as they move into this inside room, just swinging around as much as they can, but it's not going to be enough. The minefield comes out from Silence, trying to cut off anyone and everyone from touching the point, but KSA is on it, ready and raring to go to keep this all the way to 99 if they can help it. 92, 93%, and O1 Esports finally locked down the city center.
You could see the frustration in that minefield. That was a Q press that just says, guys, can you stop recontesting, please? We won this fight like 3 minutes ago, and we really just want to cap the point. And of course, New King said, no, we want to build up percentage. Like, go away. And yeah, passive aggressive bantering that only goes on inside my head aside, this is a great position for O1 Esports, and they're looking to engage aggressively with the sound. I like this move.
That's right. Soundberry coming up huge in the Immortality field, already out. And Goku is sending people into traffic. Ends up getting the pick on to Exarath, but Grafton able to get that follow-up in time. Pulse Bomb comes out, and oh my goodness, Silence running right into Yubi. Ends up delivering the Pulse Bomb, signed, sealed, and delivered for Grafton right there. And the follow-up comes in onto Emo. The point now back in New King's favor as we head into Final Fight territory, but they just have to be able to touch, but I don't think they can.
It's going to be, all they can do. Silence gets taken out. That's your biggest stalling tool. You're really just bouncing around now and hoping you can get something done. M5 barely clinging to life. And the barrage actually getting two before finally going down.
Ooh, the Echo Mercy down for the side of New Kings as the trades come in. It's a 4v4 fight on the objective as Emo ends up getting DMEC and run down by KSA. It's now a battle of the Qs as they try to hold on to this objective as long as humanly possible. Lolchish able to try to get some boops on that objective, but it just might not be enough. And now we see the minefield invested there from both Wrecking Balls trying to limit the space that either team can move in. And no! O1 Esports moves off the objective just a little bit too long. And New Kings take the city center and Oasis to start things off.
I mean, O1 is obviously still trying to play their game because it's all they know, and that's fine. That's great. But New Kings seem perfectly comfortable matching them in their aggression. They say, you want to go crazy? You want to really hit the wall here? Let's go. Let's play that sort of game. And they will run right at each other at full speed. And whatever mess comes out of the collision is whatever mess comes out. So great plays there still from O1 Esports. You saw in that last fight, that was another great O1 fight example of them just like, we're just going to keep trying until you really just bend us off with a stick or something. And New Kings having the composure and having the aggression and managing their resources and communicating effectively enough to withstand that crazy whirlwind of Wrecking Balls and barrage multi-kills and pulse bomb sticks. They said, hey, that's okay. We're going to keep trading back and forth on this. We're going to keep talking it out as long as it takes. And then that gives them Oasis. So now 1-0 up here, and we're going to start looking at the second map and what the chaos that might bring.
Absolutely. And this is something that we were talking about all the way back in Open Division as well, that, in order to be able to beat the ferocity that comes out from Goku and Merba in the sky, it's either you got to focus them and take them out quick and quietly, or you got to just take out everybody else on the ground. And that's exactly what New Kings are doing. It's not so much that they're focusing Goku at this point. They're just eliminating everyone else that can contest them on the objective. And if Goku continues to stay up in that sky over and over and over again, whether it be a payload map, an assault map, or another control map, it's not going to matter, because if you're not touching the objective, it's not going to be going much anywhere.
Right, and you hit the nail on the head, right? There are so many resources going to Goku and M5, just staying alive, doing their thing in the air. And if they get enough time and get the right openings, they can be scary effective and they can win fights on their own with just the distraction coming out from the ground troops. But New Kings know that. They know, hey, these guys are just going to try and get their thing done in the air, and we have to take advantage of that. We have to find some sort of opening and take out the right targets to make sure that even if they kill a couple of us, it doesn't matter. If the rest of their team is dead, it doesn't matter that Goku just got 3 kills or got a double with his barrage. We can still trade it back. We can still go back and win this fight. And now getting onto Ilios, we're going to see a lot of the same because maps like Well and Ruins really open up a lot of space for a Pharah, but there's still chances to contest that, especially with a good diva managing the high grounds effectively, just boosting directly into Goku's face, which is kind of just what you have to do when you're playing against Goku. You literally just have to be on Goku duty sometimes.
Yeah.
So we'll see how well they get started on that, but we are going to start on Lighthouse, not the other two I talked about.
Yeah, Lighthouse is definitely one of those maps that if you utilize a Pharah, they've really got to either be super focus fired or they got to be super aggressive. And I got to be honest, Goku is a little bit of, if not 100% of both. I mean, seeing Goku in the open division specifically on this map, using the concussion blast to just zoom in and out of the objective to be able to get picks and still continue safely onward without even a care in the world. It's really going to come down to New Kings and especially KSA and Psycho to make sure that Goku does not get away with murder.
Right, Psycho on that Echo is really the wrinkle that we need to look at here because he has to apply pressure to Goku, which we're seeing right now. He's getting taken down so low right away. But in addition to that, he has to keep an eye on the tank line and he has to help peel for his supports because they're going to be getting a lot of fire coming their way from Goku.
That is true. And Ore, we see the slam coming in from Lulcius, trying to see if they can create some space away from O1 Esports. The point getting ready to unlock as we see New Kings getting ready to start taking control. The investment, Ore from KSA, to try to hold this objective on their own, but getting cornered right now between Yubi and Goku is not a position you want to be in. The recall already utilized and trying to continue to hold on to this objective as the lone tracer. Is Goku able to get that D-Mac and Silence just running over the remains of KSA. We will see them continue to fight it out as now O1 Esports are looking to take control of this objective for their own, and New Kings just having a hard time trying to find their way back into this objective. Goku able to get the pick onto Grathan, and that might be exactly what they need. The fight is far from over, but control already in O1 Esports' favor, and it looks like that might be just enough to push New Kings back for a moment.
Potential staggering cleanup here from Goku. It looks like he's going to get away. He knows that everyone else will be spawning back soon enough. Yubi going for a cheeky little flank here, maybe with Silence backing him up. This could be a nice opening here. Yubi doesn't have a pulse bomb, but still a juicy one clip could be enough. Or just, Goku being, I don't even know why I bother. Goku's just going to do Goku things all the time. This is crazy. It's not fair.
The double kill before the fight even begins as they try to make their way up to that high ground, and the immortality field already utilized by Exarath. They're going to have to wait that out, and already up to 40% for O1 Esports.
New Kings have to be rotating smarter than this. They have to move fast and maintain their cover, or they're going to take too much poke before the fight even starts. Obviously, as we've seen, because, sometimes two people will just die. Sometimes one person will just die before the fight even starts. Grathan getting the equalizing kill, but I don't know if that's going to be enough at all.
All right, we see Minefield invested on the objective as the Pulse Bomb does end up finding someone for Psycho right there. Yubi trying to see if they can take down this Tracer 1v1 that's having to run away just for a little bit of healing and some help from Gara to be able to keep things going. And Psycho ends up using the Tracer duplicate to be able to get a Pulse Bomb onto Silence as well. Control going over to New Kings as they start their percentage climb.
That's honestly a pretty good duplication just because of the burst damage you can put onto a wrecking ball. They have so much health, they're so hard to keep up with, but the only thing as fast as a giant rolling mecha hamster is a cheeky British lesbian, I guess. I don't know where that metaphor was going. She's just so fast, and like the pulse bomb, a bunch of pulse bombs is exactly the counter you need against a player like Silence. That said, O1 don't seem to care at all because they just walked in while I was making that awful metaphor and knocked half the team off the map and killed the other half. So yeah, O1 doing O1 things again.
Yeah, that was not good positioning there for KSA. Threw the Diva Bomb high to try to get some value and ended up just getting booped off the side by Gara. Now as we prepare for this next fight, we have a lot of ultimates getting ready to come online.
Right, another pulse bomb here from Grathen could be pretty big. The sound barrier from Gara, though, will be the thing I think that really helps secure this fight or damns them in the process. It's all about the timing on that. He has to be smart, and it's coming out right now as the engage kicks off.
All right, we see lots of New Kings falling incredibly low right now. Emo actually getting ready to be demaxed here if they're not very careful, but it looks like KSA is not going to be far behind if they're not careful as well, fighting off the healers in the side room, and Gara is not afraid of KSA whatsoever. The DMAC comes in on the objective through the minefield, and Silence just runs him over. 99-34 right now as overtime ticks away, and as long as they can keep New Kings off this objective, they will successfully take the Lighthouse 100-34.
I feel like O1 is just a team that never lets you focus. You can never pick one target because someone else is always stepping up continuously. If you go, okay, Goku just killed 3 of us last time, we need to put some pressure on him because he's getting away with murder. Then Yubi comes in and sticks your backline with a pulse bomb.
Yep.
Okay, the Tracer's doing a lot of work. Let's really focus on her, kind of box her out. Okay, Silence just knocked half of us off the map with Wrecking Ball. Okay, let's duplicate the Tracer, put some pressure onto the tanks, right? Okay, Goku just killed half of us again. And that cycle just keeps going and going and going, and it's so hard to break. And I really feel for New Kings here struggling, not intensely, you know, they're still putting up a great fight here, but struggling to figure out how to apply the right pressure at the right times to keep themselves in these fights. And they're one stage down here on Oasis and dangerously close to having the series tied up on them.
That is true, and the biggest thing you got to look at, think of it as a house of cards right now, in both the good and bad ways, trying to see if they can get the picks that they need to be able to bring O1 Esports down, but also not allowing themselves to be vulnerable like Goku, allowing them to grab Exawraith in the backline as they are trying to chase down Silence and Yubi. That's not a great position for New Kings already to be in, but with Yubi out of the fight, that might create some space with the even trade 5-5 now on the objective as New King or O1 Esports trying to take control, but now trading back to the neutral for New Kings as they start to climb it right on up. O1 Esports now investing on the objective, looking to see if they can grab that pick, but Yubi ends up finding Lulshish, and that might be enough for them to retake it back. But New Kings do end up grabbing control in the middle of the chaos, and KSA and Gara find those trades on either side. The fight still far from over right now. Psycho just trying to stay alive, but in this small area, Echo cannot find the room to breathe. Lulchis able to find M5 there in the end, but the DMAC does come out onto KSA, and there it comes. Psycho, KSA loses their mech. Now Psycho's in on the Diva of their own, trying to chase down Silence as much as they possibly can and get O1 Esports off this objective. Emo goes for the hard reset, and at the 40% mark, we'll see New Kings continue to hold.
And I think a decent fight there for New Kings, a real actual controlled fight for them where everything went to plan the way they wanted it to. They used the Diva Ultimate mostly because I think Psycho was about to die and really just didn't want to do that. And now they have 4 ultimates coming online here. O1, though, perfectly mirrored on the other side. So this is going to be about as even as it gets.
All right, Minefield leading up for Silence as XRF comes out with the Amp Matrix trying to provide some damage and healing over a distance, but any time that you stand still with O1 Esports, it is not a good day for you, and that Amp Matrix just proves it right there, folks. We see Lulshis trying to use the well to create some cover right there, but it's not nearly going to be enough as Grafton does end up finding Yubi once again in the back line at the 85% mark. We will see O1 Esports, maybe the trade coming in once again. Psycho just barely able to touch as Goku does find Grafton, and the continued Goku investing the barrage, just saying, no, I am done with these shenanigans. Take them out, but Grafton cleaning it up in overtime. We will see O1 Esports can take control of the objective, but it might not be for long if these trades continue to come in, and they will hold control for now, despite Emo getting DMAC there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a perfectly valid move right there. Just hop right into the well and go back to spawn, start over. I came into that thinking it was going to be a pretty even fight, but O1 Esports, of course, making me eat my words, not off the back of a superior ultimate play, but just off of some decisive early picks, just to get the fight going. And then suddenly it doesn't matter if you have an even ult advantage or anything like that. Silence coming out with a zoning ultimate, though half of his mind's going the well. I think that just comes with the territory here on this map. Psycho with the duplicate is who we need to watch, though.
All right, Psycho going for the Diva once again, looking to get up in Goku and M5's face, looking to take them out, but Psycho ends up finding Emo on the low ground, and that's not a position you want to be in. No! Gara saying, Psycho, you want to duplicate the Diva? Okay, well, you got to deal with everything that comes with it, and sends them right into the well. Even though KSA takes down Emo with the dash, it's not going to be enough for them to hold on to this objective as O1 Esports continue their percentage climb.
That was like the scene in Aladdin at the end when they turned Jafar into the genie, and they're like, "You wanted phenomenal cosmic power? You got it, bud. But there are some caveats that come with that. You can't fly out of the well anymore." Yeah, so a bit of a catch out there for Psycho. He's maybe wishing he hadn't quite ran that the way he did, but he got focused down so hard there. You have to sympathize for him, right? Now Yubi applying tons of pressure as both support ults come out from O1 Esports. They want to end this map right now.
All right, getting ready to head into that final fight territory as we see Exarath booped into the well. We're trying to see the follow-up there from Yubi as Psycho and Deirdre trying to hold on to that high ground as much as possible. Yubi able to grab Psycho as they're heading to the low ground, not able to get back up into the sky soon enough, but the trade comes in for Lolshish. 99-99 as overtime ticks away in favor of O1 Esports for right now as we see the Battle Valk coming out from Dredro, just trying to see if they can find any value whatsoever. Able to get the res off onto Exarath as they swap on over to the Lucio, but Emo with the double kill on that Diva Bomb just might be exactly what O1 Esports needs. New Kings looking to be undefeated and looking to hold strong, but now we have seen the chip in their armor as they take the loss here on Helios.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but I kind of am, but I'm also kind of not. Like, if any team was going to throw New Kings off their game, it would be O1. They're so chaotic. They're just so different than any other team. They are not a Young and Beautiful. They are not an Olden Boar. They are not a Shoes Money Crew or any other team that's on the field right now. O1 Esports are so uniquely them, and the way that they play is always going to make you have to completely rethink and abandon whatever plans you had, adapt, overcome, or be run over. And New Kings are trying. I think the swap to Echo is fine. I think it has been getting them value. It has been winning them fights. But at the same time, I feel like there has to be something more. You have to come up with something else because these fights are not going nearly as much your way as you would like. You just lost Ilios here. Something's got to give. Otherwise, O1 Esports might start to kind of run away with this.
Yeah, that might be a yikes as New Kings are worried about what might be happening here in the next few moments. But we're going to throw it to a quick break. We will be back with more Trials action in a few moments. Welcome back, folks, to Contenders Trials. We are knee deep right now in the matchup between New Kings and O1 Esports. O1 Esports really turning this sucker right on its head, as predictable as their roster has been all the way from Open Division, knowing them to be essentially just kind of a group of one tricks. They seem to have a lot of tricks up their sleeve despite having such a limited hero pool.
Right. Yeah. The trick is not what they're running, it's how. And no one really does it like O1 right now. There are teams in the past who have kind of shown us this hyper aggressive Pharah Mercy style, this wrecking ball diva, kind of get in your face, knock you around play before. But it's been a little bit, especially for a lot of these players who have been hanging out in more established tier 2 circles, more in the contenders and the trials sort of situation, or even in the Overwatch League. Not here with this team, as Lil's just had his unfortunate visa issues that really hampered him getting onto the team that he was signed to. But a lot of players like On Young and Beautiful and stuff like that, they've been playing at an Overwatch League level where you don't often get the Pharah one tricks and the Wrecking Ball one tricks and the that doesn't happen too often unless you're getting real cheeky on a scrim.
Exactly.
So these teams are learning, again, these players, these established players with all this knowledge, learning, they got to get back to the streets. This is streets Overwatch. And you got to have your street smarts. You got to kick with your legs and throw your money clip over there and all the other things John Mulaney said in that skit. Exactly. And so far, it's been some tough knocks in education for these teams because O1 Esports has given them the crash course on streets Overwatch.
Yeah, this has just been absolutely rugged right now. And, O1, that aggression has to be met either with aggression or just with absolute CC control. And as we head into Kings Row, I wonder if that will be the case here from New Kings, trying to get on definitely a more brawl-centered map, forcing O1 Esports to try to adjust their composition even just a little to get them on the back foot might provide New Kings exactly what they need to keep this competition going.
Right. We talked about this today a lot, and kind of these past couple weeks. There's the established meta, big air quotes there, because there's no such thing right now. But there's kind of what you expect people to be running, and then there's the stuff that they're going to surprise you with. And New King's looking like maybe coming out with something. I like this. Again, Psycho being that kind of flex DPS guy, coming out on the Sombra. I think it's a great answer to Silence's Wrecking Ball and could really help decomplexify that whole metaphor I was talking about of like, okay, we handle Goku, but then Yubi, and we handle Yubi, then Silence, and we handle Silence, but then Goku again. If you can help eliminate Silence more consistently, you have fewer things to worry about. That said, that's a tall ask because as soon as O1 sees that, they're going to go, oh, Sombra, bully time. We're not going to let her get a hack off. We know what she's trying to do, and it's not going to happen. So coming out with the quick rotation here, Goku swapping right back over to that Pharah. Yubi on the Ashe, though, and staying. This is one of the few wrinkles we've seen in their strategy. I'm curious to see what they do with it.
Yeah, we all emo on that Sigma as well.
I didn't even see that. And Gara on the Mercy, M5 on the Baptiste.
Yeah, we do see the rotation right there. Typically, at least in Open Division, we did see Gara a lot more on that Mercy. And now it's going to come down to the sustain factor. Deirdre on that Lucio are going to be able to speed them in and out rather quickly and try to keep up with Silence. But Silence is going to be able to get away just shy of getting taken out right there, but with already 45 seconds off the clock, O1 Esports got to figure out a different way to attack this objective.
This is such an interesting series of adaptations from O1, mostly because I don't necessarily know why they were starting out with it. I'm curious to see what they can do with it and all, but still, Gara has such a different synergy with Goku than M5 did, and M5 on the Baptiste, as you can see, is getting a little caught out.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate pick right there, but thankfully they have the spawn advantage in this fight. Psycho looking to see if they can get that backline hack, especially onto either Goku or Gara, and there it is, right onto Goku, taking him right out of the sky to start things off, and Drudo able to get the follow-up onto Goku as well. The Amp Matrix invested right there from Exarath, but it's going to be just enough to push them off of this objective. Yubi trying to see if they can hold strong, but that Ash can only do so much without the help of the rest of the team, and Lulshich finds them with the end of their hammer. Already almost 2 minutes off of this clock, and Owen Esports just has no idea what to do right now.
Yeah, you can tell they're trying to adapt. They're showing New Kings respect. They know that King's Road does not play like a control map at all, and that adjustments might need to be made, but still. We got to see how these ults go, because they do have a bunch going online, but if they don't get value out of those, I think they swap right back to what they were doing and grab them, saying, hey, buddy, you know what time it is?
Yeah, it is high noon eliminate Goku time. That's what time it is. The triple kill coming in there as Psycho does take down Emo in the end, getting the follow-up onto Silence as well. This cleanup is just coming in hot, fast, and fierce right now, as we see Yubi saying, okay, I'm done. We're done adapting. Let's go back to the tried and true and see if we can't lock this down the old-fashioned way.
Imo doing the same thing, the swap over to the Diva, trying to apply a little extra pressure, maybe a little extra peel for Silence with that Sombra. But that EMP coming out, this is almost guaranteed to be another fight win for them as the minefield comes out and the sound barrier counters it.
All right, sound barrier invested as Merba does end up getting hacked onto that high ground, but the immortality or the Amp Matrix already invested. Lulshich ends up taking a lot of rockets straight to the back, but continuing to hold on, but not for long, as we see Emo and Yubi getting that follow-up onto them. But stun comes out, trying to see if they can take Yubi out of that back line. As we see the EMP coming out, end up grabbing 3. Goku does take Psycho with them at very least, but Drudo in the fight once again ends up finding Silence. Here comes the Diva Bomb out as Yubi trying to use the blink to get away and is successful. Use the Pulse Bomb, immense amount of damage, but the immortality keeps everybody up, if not just for a moment. We see the big slam coming in. Silence looking to push them off that objective, and that's exactly what they need. First tick, second tick, with only 5 seconds remaining on the clock. This is O1 Esports' way to turn this right around. Grappin getting just slung right on out of position, able to get the DMEC onto Emo, and that might be enough for them to turn this right around. Pick after pick coming in from the New Kings, and they are not ready to let the castle fall just yet. 86.8% has O1 Esports take to the defense.
You know, maybe O1 figured that they couldn't just play their same old thing on King's Road because it plays so differently from a control map. Maybe they figured that swapping off of their bread and butter would surprise New Kings. Maybe New Kings were only prepared for the stuff they had been running, which was sort of true, but also it didn't seem to really matter. And then O1 spent half of that obviously trying to make it work, using their ultimates, and then realizing, no, we should just switch back. And by then they had so little time to really work with, and New Kings had really figured out what they were trying to go for with those adaptations, and then obviously what they were doing as soon as they swapped back to their usuals. So there was never really a good opening for O1 besides that one fight where they got those couple ticks. 86.8% the cutoff now. New Kings need 86.7, and we are going to map 4 with a 1-up advantage for New Kings. We'll see, though. Never say never. A fuller hold is possible.
That is indeed true. They got to get to that 86.7%. And this time around, we see M5 on the Ana. Now that is an interesting pick, especially against a brawly style composition of New Kings. Their need to be able to stay grouped up for a majority of the fight could be their detriment right here. It's going to be up to Lulshich and KSA to be knowing where that Ana is and making sure that anti-nade doesn't turn the entire team purple.
Right, and that's exactly what they're going for. The only thing that could let O1 Esports kill New Kings faster is if New Kings literally couldn't heal. So that's what they're going to be going for with that Ana nade. But like you said, it's easy for New Kings to find, isolate, or apply pressure or zone off the Ana. And if they can do that effectively, that advantage is nullified. Or Psycho could just get the early pick on the Yubi. I don't know.
There we go. That early pick is definitely going to give them a bit of an advantage right there, as we see Merba on that high ground getting run down by KSA, but Goku and Gara able to get the res and pick to try to solidify control of this objective. That first tick hasn't come in just yet, as we see New Kings players continuing to trade, but Goku is just a far unhinged. They are not willing to let go of this objective. Not in the first minute. They're not going to let that happen as they continue to hold control of the sky. Not a tick to be had as New Kings pull back.
You know, you mentioning Goku and Gara in the same sentence really made me realize how anime this team really is. Goku going Super Saiyan and Gara busting out the sand coffin or something. I don't know. I only know so many anime references. I won't go trying too deep down that rabbit hole. But Goku getting the picks, and again, is exactly what this team needs. Is exactly the game they need to be playing to maintain this defense for the next 2.5 minutes. It's such a big ask, but if anyone's going to do it, it's O1.
That's right, and Silence able to find Psycho after the hack onto Goku, but Rappin coming out with the Widowmaker when we didn't even see it all the way from spawn, has him in their sights, and Gara almost getting ready to follow suit after that res onto Goku. Psycho does find Silence in the end, so not going to be able to create the space that they're hoping to do so, and Yubi does find Grappa trying to get away. The Mirage gets the Nano, ends up finding Deirdre, but gets absorbed for the most part by KSA in the end, but it doesn't matter. You can absorb the barrage, but you can't eat it all. The damage just comes in a huge, and another 30 seconds off that time bank.
And I totally forgot when we started bringing up the Ana. The only things that can make Goku kill faster are if his enemies can't be healed and if he's dealing 50% increased damage. That's the part I forgot about. Nano Goku just seems unfair. I don't think that should be allowed in the rules. Maybe we talk to the producers about that. Get in touch with Blizzard. I think that should be banned. Maybe Gara dying is the trade-off there. That seems fair.
Yeah, that's not a good way to start things off. Gara out of the fight, no res, very little healing for Goku unless they are careful, but the trade comes in. Lolshish able to find that double kill though onto Silence and Merba as they continue to feed into this objective, and they're looking to get that first tick as the Amp Matrix comes out. There it is, first tick on the objective. The feed has to come in, and it has to come in quick from O1 Esports as they try to make their way in, as Deirdre ends up just booping Silence back. Second tick as the Diva Bomb takes Silence out of the fight, and New Kings in a very quick fashion take Kings Row, bringing it up 2-1 in our series.
Gara going down early there was just so rough. You had so little help. Ana has always just been a single target sort of healer, especially if you want to be saving those nades for a more offensive application. And you're not going to hit Goku flying in the air with a nade anyways, right? So your front line crumbling, your main source of healing down, Goku losing his pocket, his beloved, much needed pocket. It was really kind of all done but the crying at that point. Lol's just so ready to step forward and be aggressive, knowing he had that advantage, knowing Goku had to play it safe. Yubi as well. You saw him in those last moments, right? He was like, I just got to touch. I just got to hide behind this car right on the point and wait. And Grathan, of course, saw him through the Amp Matrix and said, oh, right, you're still here? Blap, you're done. Okay. Anyway, next map, let's go. That was quick and clean, right? Like it took a couple minutes for New Kings to really get their footing, establish the way they wanted to push that fight. But as soon as they saw the opening, man, they were there. They took no time at all in making that happen. And now we're looking at match point for New Kings. Suddenly starting to turn around and saying, hey, you know, you're going to play crazy. You're going to play funny. We get it. But we're pretty good at the game. And we're going to show you how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be here if they weren't, you know? But I gotta say, now putting it back into O1 Esports court, it's gonna be interesting to see which map they end up deciding upon. You know, we could end up seeing ourselves heading back to maps like Route 66 or Rialto. Lots of space for Farah to make huge plays until we get around objective Charlie for each of those. And, we could be seeing the assault come out. We could see some 2CP. Those are, being able to lock down a draw if absolutely need be to keep themselves in the series could be huge. And, as you said, as we were talking about it, Volskaya Industries is now on the table. The control map or the assault map rather, is out of rotation. And this provides exactly what Goku needs, a huge skybox for them to utilize both on Alpha and Bravo objectives. And I don't know, there's not much more O1 Esports can ask for to be able to lock this down. So it's going to be up to New Kings to either continue that brawly bunker style that they have and try to focus everyone on the ground, or go back to what we saw on the first two maps.
Right, and Volskaya, we've seen O1 on Volskaya before. Mm-hmm. They've done pretty well for themselves there, but they've also had moments where they've really struggled to figure out what to do, how to approach. When they have a lot of options, or when the other team is kind of hiding the options that they want to be using, O1 will find themselves hesitating or caught off on the back foot sometimes. Mm-hmm. So they have to be really reactive, I think, in their playstyle, at least on the defense, right? You have to be able to say, okay, New Kings here, they're going for the far side rotation, maybe speed boosting or teleporting through to get that high ground on the right side. Or maybe they're doing the same thing on the left, or maybe they're running it straight down the gut, Mm-hmm. There's so many options on Volskaya first, at least, that you have to just be ready for anything. And O1 have sometimes struggled with that because they have this game plan in mind. They always want to have you play their game. You're going to come at us in this direction, and we're going to hit you right back in the face. And if New Kings, again, start to throw that off, come back with maybe Lulzers on the Wrecking Ball, definitely Psycho on the Sombra. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. Maybe even Exo on the Moira. I don't really know about that one. I think Baptiste is a little too important right now, but hey, anything's possible. It is a lot of healing, so I wouldn't fault them necessarily. But O1, they have to be ready. They have to adapt, but not in the ways they did on King's Row, because that just didn't work. I like M5 back on the Mercy here. Gara, I felt, was kind of stuck on it because ultimates, you don't want to go for the full swap or anything. Yeah. I like Gara back on the Lucio. I think this opens them up to a more comfortable style for them. Let's see what they can do with it, because this is match point.
Yeah, this is exactly what I would say that New Kings need right now, because Exoraph was getting caught out a lot on that BAP. As soon as that Ant Matrix came down, or that Immortality Field fell, O1 Esports were just on top of them, because they know you got to stay there. If you want to utilize that ultimate, they got to stay within range for it to be utilized. And interesting.
Swaps.
All right. I mean, I don't know what they expected. I don't know really what they thought they were going to see right here as the swaps come in for New Kings over to this brawly composition. They're just going to go ahead and move their way to the high ground. They got the McCree, they got the Rhine, they got the BAP, and are just going to see if they can try to control this high ground with KSA. Just giving a little touch on the objective, trying to divide the attention of O1 Esports to make sure that they stay off of that objective. Already so close as Yubi able to grab that pick onto Grathan very early in the fight. The Immortality Field utilized and taken immediately down as Lulshish able to grab that pick onto Emo after the DMAC. But as you know, with Goku uncontested right now in the sky, the picks are just going to come in as far as the Pharah flies. And that is just going to be a cleanup of New Kings right now with already 30 seconds or a minute 30 off the clock.
I feel like New Kings there, they were like, they swapped last map. Are they going to do that again? Like, their whole worldview was shaken. They were like, they don't do that. How could they do that? Are they going to do it again? They had no idea. So yeah, the swap's coming out right away. They were like, hey, we're not even going to try any of that new cheeky stuff. We're just going to go back to kind of what we've been trying to use here. And the BAP, like I mentioned, is still just so important. But now, like, they're behind in ultimates a little bit. They're struggling to really engage. Silence is just running rampant. Yubi things. That was nasty. That was
Silence and Yubi just following up one after the other. KSA gets sent over the side by Goku, and the cleanup is just fierce. I gotta say, I'm really, really surprised that New Kings are looking to stick with this, because they were getting ready to come out with what worked for them on Oasis and Ilios. I mean, it didn't work as well on Ilios, but it was pretty effective.
Right.
And they're just not matching the speed right now that O1 Esports has on this map.
I think New Kings are just going for a rush over there and EMP sort of composition. They really want to use their ultimates to get the most value out of this. Is not a neutral team fight composition. This is a use your EMP, mitigate the really annoying wrecking ball that's just bouncing over there on the side, as you can see. Just kind of burn everything down. So let's see what they can get now that they have some ultimates online.
Minefield comes out, and Grathen does find silence in the midst of it. Goku has that barrage online, waiting for that defense matrix to come out just enough for them to utilize it. Psycho does find Yubi, though, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, and they are looking for that EMP. Diva Bomb coming out from Emo ends up finding KSA ends up finding Emo, rather, after the Diva Bomb comes out. And first tick, second tick, New Kings not even having to use the EMP will take the objective at 3 minutes to the time bank and make their way to objective Bravo.
I feel a little silly, you know. I hyped them up. It's like, this is going to be an EMP composition. They just want to be able to nullify the wrecking ball long enough to pin them down. They didn't need to at all. They walked up onto point. Silence hadn't been able to get a good rotation and pull someone away during that rotation because they were in such a confined space and so grouped up together so well. And then the picks started coming in for New Kings. They hardly had to commit anything. Now Psycho here with the EMP, just being a little cheeky, having some good backup places. Yubi getting that eaten though is rough. New Kings in a commanding position to take this point.
That's true. EMP comes up, ends up grabbing 3, and the cleanup comes in huge. Now we see the Amp Matrix invested in the fight as Grathen trying to get that DMAC onto Emo and will be successful, picking Goku right out of the sky as well. First tick, second tick, 69% on the objective right now as we're looking to make it to that final resting spot here on objective Bravo. The cleanup comes in huge, and the Diva Bomb locks it down. 2 minutes, 32 seconds remaining on the clock as O1 Esports head to the attack.
And that's pretty good for New Kings when you remember how long it took them to really establish themselves on that first point. Once they had their rhythm going, once they realized, hey, this is the kind of game we want to play, they rolled right on to second, no problems at all. Grathen really hitting his stride this game. Not that he started off rusty, he's been hitting his shots, but he's been so consistent here on Volskaya. And with a Pharah in the air, your McCree hitting their stride is exactly what you need. So if he can keep that up, Goku suddenly is really going to be challenged in the air, I think, for the first time this whole series. And that's just a great spot. This is a great time, I should say, for New Kings to really be hitting that sort of impetus, hitting that momentum, let's say.
Yes, this should hopefully work out in their favor right now. But it just may be that Goku wasn't being as aggressive as we have seen them lately. There is a lot of sky to be able to control, and if Grathen is not careful, as we saw early on in those fights, Grathen was kind of the first one to get picked a couple of times there. So as long as Goku can keep Grathen at bay and try to keep them in spawn as much as possible, especially on this defense where the walk is quite a long one, it might end up working out in O1 Esports' favor.
That's very true. Putting pressure on Grathen, who's not very mobile, who has a decently sized hitbox for a DPS player, let's say. You know, if you put pressure on him and really mitigate his effectiveness, Goku's right back in it. But if you can't, and Grathen's hitting his shots, Goku's going to have a really tough time. So it's really all down to that 1v1 sort of situation. Unless Yubi, of course, just wants to hop in the backline and take out the supports by himself.
I mean, Yubi just always seems to be in the back line somewhere. If you're not watching your back, you might miss him, as Deirdre is coming back from spawn. Thankfully, they are the Lucio, so they will at least be able to get back rather quickly compared to other heroes that we'd be seeing right here. The hack comes in onto Silence, and Exarap able to finish that off. And whoa! Goku just sends Grafton flying and able to get the pick on him in mid-air, and the res brings Silence back into the fight. So now it's a 5v6 as we see the amplification matrix coming out from Exarath, trying to see if they can clean this up, and it looks like they will indeed be successful. Psycho does find themselves off that side, and with the amp matrix gone once again, this may be the time for O1 Esports to be able to push back in. They already got a tick almost 2. If they can touch it and keep that point contested, they just gotta move New Kings off that objective long enough. The barrage coming out as KSA dives in, ends up getting demeched and run over in the end of that fight, but Psycho finding Silence there in the end as well. Second tick already on the objective as they continue to fight this out. The fight just continuing to drag on right now.
A longer fight will always favor O1. They're so scrappy. They're so good at re-engaging. They have no fear whatsoever. A long fight always gives them the opportunity to get back in it, to get that cheeky pick that would otherwise bring a 5v6 or so on back into their favor. New Kings now, Lil just swapping over to the Wrecking Ball. Exorat to that Moira again. Grafton on the Tracer, has been for a little bit, has the Pulse Bomb, and Psycho with the EMP too. This is a decent opportunity for them to defend, and they really need to. With 4:45 on the clock, they gotta hold for a while or they're at a severe time-based disadvantage.
That's right. If they can lock it down in the next 30 seconds, it'll work, but that triple EMP might not be what they were looking forward to, but it doesn't matter because Silence able to pull off that minefield just before, and the EMP not able to grab it in time. They've got the point littered with those mines at the barrage coming out. Goku finding Deirdre as the second tick already coming in on the objective. They have to touch. They have to keep this point going in their favor as Emo invests the Diva Bomb to keep this fight going. 94% already for O1 Esports. They are looking to take this point and to take it in a fervor right now. But with Silence already hacked, M5 trying to hold them up on this objective, and Yubi able to come to their rescue, ends up finding Exarath, and Gara finds Deirdre just in time. Those time banks gonna get shaved down with New Kings having 2 minutes and O1 Esports having an extra minute 21.
That is a pretty sizable difference as we get into extra rounds here on Volskaya. We're back to the occasional shout out for O1 Esports support line, because remember, they're playing a quiet sort of game. They're here to pocket and not much else. And M5 and Gara, you saw Silence's health bar, right? He was dropping to 20, 30 HP at the lowest, and there were so many people all trying to get him. He's so good at taking up attention and saying, hey, me, I am a giant hamster. Look at me. I'm going to make my hamster do a breakdance. You want to kill me so bad. Ooh, and he's really good at that. And New Kings have been taking that bait because, I mean, he is a legitimate threat. In addition to the breakdancing hamster thing, he's also deadly on the Wrecking Ball. And they were all trying to apply so much pressure to him, and the healers just said, nah, it's not going to happen. You're not going to out-heal us. Give up. And by then it was too late. So great job from them, keeping Silence alive, being so good at managing who's taking up the most attention right now. Is Yubi being really pesky? Let's make sure we get him some spot kills. Is Goku going in on his crazy rocket crusades? Let's make sure we're popping Valk and giving him what he needs. Is Silence running around in the backline? Amp that stuff up. Make sure it works for you. They're so good at managing their healing like that, and New Kings have struggled to find an answer as they begin their second attack.
That is absolutely true. Let's see if they can turn this sucker right around. Just because they have a lower time bank doesn't mean that they won't be able to find the value that they are looking for. As we see Gara on that high ground, just looking to see if they can get a little bit of poke damage in, and Grafton already finding Goku, and we see the sights coming out. They are looking for M5 to grab that res, and Lulshish able to take them down with a quickness. Only 40 seconds off the clock, and with all those picks in, it looks like New Kings will take Objective Alpha, moving in to Objective Bravo.
Nice and quick, and they do get a cheeky extra 30 seconds here, so 140 and counting on the clock to try and cap the second point. Very possible, as mentioned. Silence with the early hack, getting a little caught out. New Kings know they need to move, and they are going with the quickness.
That is true, and they're going to try to get that res off, but it might not work out in their favor. The recall Ori coming out from Yubi as they try to get away from that clicking McCree. Grathen just has everyone in their sights, and that Deadeye is ready to unleash it. There it is. High Noon coming out, ends up finding Goku in the sky as we see the picks continuing to come in through the amplification matrix. Pick after pick after pick. Head. Minute 3 on the clock. Wow.
That, I don't think you could ask for much more from New Kings at this point. Maybe a few seconds faster if you really want to be greedy about it, but hey, they did that right. Great opening picks, great presence of mind, great defensive play. Yes, they were on the offense, but that whole time they were taking a measured approach. They never let themselves get split off or distracted. Anytime Yubi was trying to apply pressure, Extra Wrath was right there with Grathen, with the immortality field, with all the resources he needed to stay alive and say, Yubi, you're not getting this pick. You're not going to make that happen. You're not going to pull us apart like that. And that united front, that death ball of a composition is the perfect counter to 0-1. It always has been. It's just so difficult to do. So for New Kings to finally make that adaptation to grow and get the download, as it were, on 0-1 style at such a key moment in the game, hugely important for them. Now they have both points captured with a minute in the bank if they need to go again, and another great opportunity to set up a defense, though the time bank admittedly is pretty forgiving for 0-1. They have a lot of time to build up full ultimates, to lose a fight or two and come back still. But they want to be moving as fast as New Kings did if they want to maintain their advantage. So the pressure's on.
And right now, we always say that certain teams have certain advantages on certain maps right now. And if 0-1 ends up coming in just as quickly and aggressively as we've seen in the past, and they end up taking this with a fervor, I mean, we could just see this go into a 6-6, 8-8 at this point, and Silence already getting that initial pick onto Psycho, looking to see if they can take it in a record time. You can get it in May 27th. I think we can do that too, but KSA ends up locking Silence into that side room when Exorath with the follow-up there might not be exactly what they're looking for. Emo out of the fight too. That's it right there. Not a lot they're going to be able to do to keep that going. KSA does get credit for the cheeky punch on to Merba there at the end, and already 45 seconds off the clock.
Everyone jumping off the edge there just reminded me of an interview that I listened to way back in the early days of Overwatch in 2017. It was a German radio station. They were asking a fan, what's your favorite voice line from Overwatch? And they said, Anna when she falls off the map. And he perfectly recreated the sound of a 7-year-old woman falling off a cliff to her death. It was the weirdest thing I think I've ever heard in my time in Overwatch. And a pretty good moment, I think, to draw parallels to this weird game as Grathen is hitting his stride again, just like I said, getting the shots onto Goku, and 0-1 Esports now are scrambling. What are we going to do here?
Yeah, I'm not exactly for certain what Emo was doing right there. Just kind of standing still and hoping that the Mercy could get to them in time instead of using the boosters to try to help them get away. Pulse Bomb ends up coming out trying to find Psycho, but will be unsuccessful as we go ahead and just continue to see New Kings bunkered down. There's only a tick on the objective, but that time bank is continuing to drop.
I felt that was a little greedy from Yubi. Like, come on, it's a Sombra. Even if you stick her, she's going to translocate away. But hey, the pressure's on right now. These guys are going to start to crack a little bit. This has been a long series. It's very back and forth this whole time. You're going to start seeing those little mistakes here and there. So maybe, rein it in, Yubi. You got this. You're still going to be okay. But at the same time, struggling. I feel for these guys. This is a crazy game.
Indeed, and we're getting ready to be at a minute on the clock. The Nano going in for this fight as High Noon comes out from Grathen. They don't care about no nanoed Goku. They're going to go ahead and use it up as quickly and quietly as possible, and Burba ends up finding the flashbang at the end of the tunnel right there as they get sought out. 45 seconds remaining on the clock as the minefield litters the objective, and Gara out of the fight as well. Exarath able to get that follow-up onto Goku, and that minefield means nothing if no one is on the objective. Only 30 seconds remaining on the clock, and with an EMP in the pocket, New Kings might be able to hold this.
O1 have to be so careful here. They have the New Kings have the EMP. It's going to be so tough to find a good engage. O1, not many tools to work with. That Nano getting nothing really onto Goku. It looked like he wasn't ready to get it. He was like, "Oh, I'm nanoed. I'm not really ready for this, and there's a diva on me, but okay." And now New Kings, like you said, so many tools to work with here. I mean, it's going to be all O1 can do just to like stay on the point and try and establish some sort of fight here.
All right, here we go into the fight once again as Overtime takes away. Rapid immediately finds Goku and no res to be had by Emo. Sends the Diva Bomb into the side room, grabs two Pulse Bomb. Oh, ends up getting eaten by KSA in the end. Not going to find the value they were hoping for, but the 3-man EMP might be enough to be able to clean up this objective. Shatter comes in huge from Lulshish as they go ahead and send Gara straight into the wall and right on back to spawn. The Nano gets invested, but no! Emo trying to push them back, but not realizing they were the only one on the point. Overtime ticks away with the Fury like the Reaper. It's gone quick and easy. And that is it. New Kings take Volskaya Industries and take the series 3-1.
I mean, fantastic defense and fantastic adaptations there from New Kings. The Sombra being so clutch, just consistently sticking together, changing not just their composition, but their play style. Understanding, hey, these guys love separating us. They love picking us off one at a time. What if we just didn't let them do that anymore? You know,
yeah.
And just apply some pressure onto the Pharah and take cover here on this first point. Use that mega health pack that we've hacked up, and that gives us lots of cover and lots of extra sustain. And O1 could never really find the answer there on first. Volskaya first is quickly becoming kind of their kryptonite. And I worry almost that other teams will start to pick up on that and say, hey, let's take them to Volskaya because they're not going to really have an answer for us if we play it right.
Yeah.
So... yeah, a crazy game all the way through. Exactly what I expected, frankly. But New Kings just showing that they had the composure to withstand the chaos that is O1 Esports.
Yeah, it's just absolutely unfortunate, and maybe that's going to come down to O1 looking for other maps to be able to utilize their composition on. I mean, as we saw right there, Volskaya, those bunkers off the side lend a lot to those brawly type of compositions, especially if you have that Sombra. Even if you don't have that Sombra, it's still a great place to just hunker down, and as long as you have that Diva or that Rhine, just touch the objective every so often to keep it in your favor. It at very least burns a lot of time off of that time bank. We're going to go ahead and throw it to a quick break as we wait for an interview, a partner from New Kings. Don't go away. Don't go away, you. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. We have a member of New Kings, Lulshish, coming in for the interview. Lulshish, I gotta say, that was an incredible match. Not exactly what we anticipated there. Knowing what you do about O1 Esports, what did New Kings plan for when coming into this fight today?
Yeah, so we prepared a little bit by playing the Echo Mercy comp with BAP, and everyone we scrimmed against that imitated O1's comp, we stomped. So we were like confident in this comp, right? And then we go in and we get absolutely, and we're like, okay, our comp is not that good against their comp actually when we thought about it. And then we basically adapted after, and we figured out stuff until then. Basically, it's like it's one of those teams you have to just figure out the puzzle, and because they know what they're doing all the time, but we have to like figure it out for the first time, kind of.
Absolutely.
So what's gone into? Obviously, you talked a lot about you scrim teams and had them kind of imitate O1's style and compositions. Is that something you've been doing kind of for every team, or do you expect pretty much every other team to like play something normal or closer to meta, basically?
It's only O1 playing that. It was mostly just in the warm-up, and one other time when they wanted to do it as well, because they were playing O1 as well, so we had like a O1 scrim, kind of. So it was just 2 times, but yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we know you've got a handful of matches coming up in the following days. Which team are you looking at now that your record's been a little bit tarnished? That's really going to put up a fight.
We have Yab and SMC left. The best 2 teams left. I think we're gonna beat both. I think we're definitely the best team right now in the Rush meta.
All right.
So yeah.
Like to hear that. Right on.
All right. Well, we won't keep you any longer. So, last but not least, would you like to give any shout outs whatsoever for your victory today?
I don't know, maybe Graffen. He shot the Pharah. He was the Pharah killer of Zerol. So. Thanks for killing Pharah.
Dear Graffen, thank you for killing the Pharah.
Absolutely.
Ryan can't do shit, so.
Oh,
you do what you can.
Yeah, I do what I can.
We'll give you a pass
you
for the
can't just
hammer, man.
fly up there unless Blizzard give Ryan a jetpack. Maybe,
Blink,
maybe.
blink.
Come on, how is he supposed to fight a Pharah Echo in the sky if you don't give him a jetpack?
I'll get in touch. I'll see what I can do for you. We'll make that happen.
have rocket shoes in the design already, so just go upwards instead of
Exactly.
Easy day. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us, Lil Shish, and once again, congratulations on your victory today. We look forward to seeing you here in the near future.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, folks. Well, that comes to the end of our schedule for now. But very shortly, we're going to be heading right across the pond to the North American Division, where we are going to see the battle of some incredible teams over there. We're going to be seeing, starting off, I believe, let me see if I can find this.
versus Wisp?
Yes, it is Wisp versus Susanoo, and then Vita Ramen Revival versus Obey Alliance. Now, Revival and Susanoo are teams that we have seen a little bit of so far, and I'm really excited to see what Alliance and Wisp really bring to the table going forward. So don't move very far away from your YouTube channel, because we're going to be right back with that action very, very soon. But from all of us here at EU Contenders, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to our amazing production staff. Thibble, do you have anything else to shout out before we go ahead and sign off for the evening?
I mean, shout out to the viewers, shout out to the fans, shout out to these teams for playing some crazy Overwatch for us to scream at. And, you know, as Captain Jack there mentioned, stick around. There's going to be tons more Overwatch. We're going to be here right along with you. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, folks. That's Thibble Dork, and my name's Captain Jack, and we'll see you all very shortly.